Oh.
Here are the people.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, hi.
Oh no, I lost my thing. Oh no. Okay, I found it again. So I am going to go around and let everybody introduce yourselves. We'll start with Dylan. He's up here in the top corner. Let us know who you are, what you do, and something that you love about content creation, as well as a pet peeve relating to content creation.
One pet peeve? Wow. Okay.
Can you pick one?
Yeah, well, okay. My name's Dylan. I'm a mental health advocate on Twitch and really just kind of anywhere. So, like, I am pretty open about, like, my life, about, like, suicide and that kind of struggle that I continuously have. I talk pretty openly, but it's not like this dark, somber sort of conversation, just sort of destigmatization. Like, it's normal. There's nothing too crazy about it. So, I stream on Twitch. I'm a Twitch partner, Variety Games. And then I have just started dabbling into music that follows that same sort of, message. And then content creation, my biggest pet peeve is just, I don't know, relevancy, the constant need to be relevant. Can't take a day off, can't take a moment off. If you don't have stuff that like can be replayed or rewatched, then like with streaming, if you're not live, you're not relevant. So you got to do YouTube, podcasts, other things. That like need to hustle is disgusting. I hate it. So
All right, Oreo.
Hi, everybody. I'm Oreocide. Some of you might know me from Twitter for my edgy sarcasm and satire, but for those of you who don't, that's what I'm known for on Twitter. And on Twitch, I'm mostly a variety streamer. I do a lot of just chatting, a lot of reactionary stuff, and I also like to dabble in like RTS games primarily lately from time to time, and just offer a little off the cuff content for people, kind of give a fresh outlook on things from a nuanced perspective, and just all sorts of stuff. And one of the pet peeves that I have about content creation, probably the same as what Dylan's got, honestly, is just the constant struggle to just be relevant. And if I ask personally, I feel like anytime you take a break, it's basically like you're just cutting the cord. Like you come back and it's going to be so.
What is the thing that you like about content creation?
Oh, I guess I didn't do that.
Oh, you didn't do that either? Dylan, do you like anything?
I guess we just don't like content creation, do we?
I mean,
I have a panel of people who
what are we doing here?
I don't know. I think just like people, man, like getting to like interaction fuels me. Like getting to know people is why I like content creation, like in any facet. So that's me. Pass it to Oreo on the next one.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's just the ability to kind of put yourself out there and kind of if you do things the right way, if you be yourself, you're going to attract a lot of people with the same like-mindedness that resonate with you. And it really helps from a perspective of like, if you ever feel alone, you might find out you're not as alone as you thought you were. So it's good from that perspective.
Yeah.
Big brain energy.
Good deal. Oreo, you are Oreo. You said that. Slurp.
Yes, that is me.
Oreo, talk again. No, Slurp.
That works. Can Oreo just be my spokesman? I'd like that.
You gotta pay me for that.
That's fair. 8 for 2? No, I'm just kidding. All right. My name is Slurpaglurp, and I am a content creator. I'm a variety streamer. I tend to focus on like action RPGs and horror games, and I also host a talk show. What I like most about streaming is the idea that I could do what I love, delving into like music, writing, entertainment, philosophical discussion, and stuff like that, with the ability to make friends and potentially make money while I do it. If I could make a living off doing what I love, that's fucking phenomenal. What I dislike most, there's a lot of things I feel like I dislike a little. Right now, what's most pressing to me is probably just like the basic answer of unoriginal trolls. Redundancy really gets to me. So like, it's one thing if you're being an asshole, but at least be an original asshole. I don't know.
Never.
Just throwing it out there.
Looks at Oreo.
What? No. Me?
I muted Oreo for being an unoriginal troll for a while.
Ooh.
I unmuted him. I love Oreo.
I love a good redemption story.
Detune.
I'm just gonna earn everybody's unmute tonight. That's my goal.
Ideal.
My name's Detune. I'm a variety streamer here on Twitch. I do a lot of indie horror games. I do a lot of basically whatever we come across. We kind of build a community that we just do whatever we want, and that is very freeing and very fun. Also very stressful to figure out what the heck I'm going to play every single night. Outside of Twitch, I am a musician and a music producer. I've been doing that now for about 10 years full time. Let me see. I run a recording studio mainly. I do a lot of commission work, writing songs for content creators and TV, movies, and games.
Including the song you guys heard at the beginning of this stream was Detune's
Hey,
work.
little plug. Hey, I like that. Yeah, so that's basically my entire life is right now anyway, is music stuff for like 12 hours a day and then streaming stuff. I got into streaming for a way to like supplement not having to do music all the time. I needed another outlet. Something about me is I'm a workaholic. I'm always working towards something, and I was just drowning myself in music to the point where I almost started hating it. So I started streaming as a distraction and just to try something new. Ended up loving it. And I guess a pet peeve of mine would be, I don't really have many pet peeves. Is it when it comes to streaming?
Yeah.
Like pet peeves like that? Okay. When people talk about view count, like in stream,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of redundant. Like, I don't know. I hide my view count because it doesn't matter how many viewers are there. People are spending their time, and it's the one currency they can't get back, you know?
Right.
So I would rather not worry about view counts. I don't want people to be like, oh, there's a lot of people here tonight. Or like, oh, where is everybody? It's like, dude, just have fun.
Yeah.
Be here, or like, you know, don't.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, I'm eating and I keep muting my mic. I literally finished a commission thing right before we had to do this, so I haven't eaten anything today.
Yeah, all good. Eat your food.
Okay.
Do your thing. ButtJuice.
Hi, I am ButtJuiceSoup. I guess I would say I'm a chatting streamer. We mainly just kind of sit around, watch videos, mainly of food getting made, be it cakes getting iced, cupcakes being made, the world's craziest burgers. Sometimes play games, sometimes not. So I do this kind of as a hobby as of right now. I work full time. Let's see. Something I really like about content creating is that before I did streaming, I was a stand-up comedian for about 5 years. I would like to say I was not a very good one for 5 years. So
I don't believe you.
Yeah, I was actually no. Like I have actual videos. I am actually completely awful, and you can hear the actual silence fill the room when I tell jokes. But one thing I really love doing is I love performing. I like making people laugh. That's kind of my favorite thing. Is when there's when you're on stage, there's kind of clues where you do something, you're like, okay, this is working. When you're streaming, there are clues where you can really feel like, oh my god, they're actually like reacting to it. It's it's very empowering to know something you are doing is actually making someone, whatever side of the world they are on, laughing. What I don't like about streaming is I would say it's the off-stream work. I hear a lot of people are like, oh, I love the process. I love making the raid scenes. I love making the this and the that. I'm like, no, you don't. You just got to do it. It's just something. If you want to grow, you have to make raid scenes. You have to, come up with sound effects and gimmicks. And what am I going to do with my channel points? What am I going to do with my sub points?
Yeah.
And I feel like what I would like to do is I just like to come on, press start, and perform. And the rest of it,
you need to hire someone else to do the rest. Yeah.
I know I have to do it because no one else is going to do it for me. No. But to me, it's sort of more of a pain than the actual act of performing and having fun and talking and making people laugh, while live.
It's like paperwork.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's definitely
the Twitch DMV.
It's a lot. It can be a lot. And then me.
I
Hi, I'm Sierra. I
Hi, Sierra.
stream here, and that's kind of the only thing. I'm trying to do YouTube. I'm terrible at doing YouTube. It's so much. Like, all the other content creation stuff is just, it's a lot to do. But I'm trying to do things. Starting with this talk show, podcast, discussion panel situation that we're doing here. What I enjoy about content creation is being able to share who I am with people. I think when I was first starting to stream, it took me a really long time to figure out like who I wanted to be, and if I want to be this type of person or that type of streamer, or like what I wanted to be known for or whatever. And I have finally settled in a place where I'm comfortable with who I am as a person, and just being able to share that with the community and with people, and like what that's done for me with my anxiety and just in general. Streaming has done a lot for me, and I think through my streams it's done, a lot of you guys have told me that things that we do in the streams have done a lot for you as well, and I think that's my favorite part of it. The biggest like pet peeve or stressor or thing that is difficult is like, so I do this full time, and so this is like my whole schedule, right? And so it's so easy for me being in charge of myself to just be like, I don't want to do it today. I'm stressed, I'm sad, I'm overwhelmed, I have other things to do, I'm not going to do it today. And then I fall into a slump. And so like the need to motivate myself to do this like on a consistent basis is probably the biggest stressor, and like the thing that I dislike the most, because if I'm gone for, you know, a week, then I come back and all of a sudden like the people who I'm used to talking to every stream and hanging out with every stream are like not there to talk to me anymore, and I'm like, ooh, I'm talking to myself while I play Zelda, now what? Like, so that's probably the biggest like difficulty, I guess, for me.
Yeah.
Agree. So I wanted to, we've got like two portions of the stream, or of the conversation tonight. There's like a general streaming conversation, and then a little bit of a chat break for you guys to ask your questions. And then I'm going to start asking some questions about like communities and kind of more of the fun stuff. I think that's going to be the bulk of the stream, but there's some...
Whole thing is going to be fun. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah. Ask us about communities. They're like, communities? I'm like, hate them. Can't stand them.
They suck. It's really the worst. I keep like I have like a thing on my stream where I like do a lot of the zoom ins, and I keep like almost pushing the button to zoom in, but y'all are looking at me on Discord, so it can't do it.
Nope.
But so the first thing I wanted to ask is, who on the panel is a full-time content creator?
Oh, fuck me.
I was like, me, Dylan, Detune,
I
are
guess-
you not? You are, aren't you?
I mean,
guess,
music's
yeah.
content too, and you better.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
you're
I
not a
guess-
full-time streamer, but you're a full-time content creator.
Yeah, you're right.
There's like a
It's
compare and
basically what I
contrast there, but I think it's fairly similar.
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
definitely some overlap there.
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean,
a
you work
little
18 hours a
right
day, so you don't have to work
now?
8, right? Yeah.
So I wanted to discuss kind of what that entails, because there's so many people that are like, I just want to be a full-time content creator. I just want to go full-time. I just want to go full-time. And I used to be that. And I was like, I want to go full-time. That's all I want, is just to spend all my time on Twitch, playing games, hanging out with my community. And it's so fucking stressful.
Oh yeah.
I think it's like what ButtJuiceSoup said though. It's like the being live thing is what like gives me like revitalization. That's what I love. That's what I thrive on. Like sitting here laughing, memeing, dunking on people, like that's fun. When I have to like figure out how I'm gonna grow outside of Twitch, or like, oh, I gotta make this kind of content, or I gotta like look at strategies, like that stuff drains me. That's where the overthinking, anxiety, like all that stuff starts to play in, and I'm like, oh, do people like me? Do they not like me? But my Twitter friends aren't talking to me. Like then I start to panic when I'm live. I'm like, all right, we got this. But yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people,
That's
like
fair.
a common misconception is like, oh yeah, you just have to like sit around and like play video games and stream and everything. And it's like,
Oh god.
if all I do is sit around and stream and hang out, like my bills don't get paid.
True.
That's-
True.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah, because you got to like take your stream and like clip down the moments and like put them on social media, or you got to be on Instagram interacting with other people, like because you don't
Instagram.
grow if you stay in your bubble. And yeah, like, and on top of that, I mean, if you look at like Tune and you know, like I'm like a much lesser version of that, where like I I had just got into music, but like there's also other stuff that we're doing to, you know, like he's spending 12 hours a day writing music and making music and doing commissions. And so like that, but that also kind of funnels people back to the stream a little bit too. So it, you know, there's just like so much behind the scenes. I love being live, but the rest of it feels like a weight. You know?
I have a question.
So
usually when we're on Twitch, when we're on Twitter, everything, there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of, you know, like stuff that kind of hits you hard. When I find when I'm working, I don't really want to get involved in that drama because I have, you know, a wife and a mortgage and stuff like that. When this is your when you wake up, you're on Twitter, on Twitch all day, every day, all you talk about is Twitter and Twitch. Does that stuff get to you more?
Yeah, because to survive, I don't know, this is my opinion, to survive, I have to be aware of it to some extent. Like, not that I have to, because I like, since last year, I've really reeled back on commenting. Like, my commentary is not important on like drama, but I have to be aware of it and learn from the mistakes of others at minimum, right? Whereas, like, if I had a job, I'd be like, oh, man, fuck it, whatever. I'm going to go work, get paid, come home, and then I'm going to play Doom. You know what I mean?
See, I'm almost the opposite of that, though. Like, I feel like since I've gone full-time and been so, like, in it, I'm almost desensitized to it at this point. That's fair. Like, to where I see stuff and I'm just like, here we go again. And, like, I'm like, let me read it and be aware of it. Okay, I see what's going on now. Don't care. Putting my phone down, making my lunch. And, like, it almost, it doesn't faze me anymore. I'm like, whatever. Or like, I got attacked. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Slurp.
No, that's okay, finish.
Oh, I was just going to say, along with all the drama, I was, as a female streamer, I've gotten an absurd amount of, like, attacks on my body and on who I am and whatever as a streamer. And that was another thing. It was like a drama thing that the first few times it happened, I was really upset. And then eventually I was like, whatever, dude, fuck you. Like, I don't care. It means nothing to me anymore.
I think it depends on the nature of the drama. I know you had something. Yeah.
The other thing, too, is you have to remember a lot of that anger does come from somewhere else. You know? Very true. It's not necessarily directly for you.
Yeah, that's true. Slurp, you had something to say?
Yeah.
I was wondering if ButtJuice was speaking in terms of drama in general or drama pertaining to like you or me or like you specifically as a streamer.
Our drama, our personal drama, you and me?
No, I mean...
remember that time you killed my brother? I made this whole panel just to get you! Our personal drama! No, you know, there's just you know, whenever you're on Twitter, there's vortexes. I call them vortexes, where you can just get sucked into this drama, and then you comment on something, you know, and then you just end up getting either piled on or, you know, and it starts to affect you. You start to, you know, like pace around your like apartment or house. And it really like, because you have nothing else to think about because you don't want to think about, okay, do I have enough subs to, you know, pay my rent? Do I have, you know, is my other content, you know, really you, like that's what you're thinking about. So you start just completely concentrating on this, like, oh, this guy said, you know, women can't be good streamers, you know, and then it just takes over. When I was unemployed and I was doing this full time, I used to just get into the muck of it. And I just felt, because it was easier than thinking about my unemployment's running out, you know, my wife's getting on my case. Like, I've gained weight. Like, all of these things are horrible things. So I just said, get into this Twitch drama. Just get directly into it. So I'm wondering, like, when you're doing this full time, does it get to you?
I know for me, like, I think so. For me anyway, I know I'm a big soy boy. Like, I pride myself on being a big old soft man. Like, you know, daddy didn't love me kind of soy boy. Like, so I'm sensitive to stuff, right? So I'm like, I don't usually comment on the shit that I know that I'm going to get flamed on because I can't take it. Most of the time I keep my opinions to myself, like whether I agree or don't agree or whatever. I've taken to use like Twitter specifically, because Twitter is the cesspool that it is. I use Twitter specifically to just like boost people up and be proud of myself and be proud of others. And that's it. Like, I am not going to go on there and be like, you know, politics this or virtue signal that. Like, that's not. But when I was doing that, I found that wanting to, this is going to sound really morose, brace yourselves, wanting to be alive in the space I wanted to exist in was not something I wanted to do. Because it was always like, someone's going to hate you for something. They always hate you. And I was just like, I don't want it. You know, so it just got to a point to where, like, when I was living that lifestyle, and that was like, I don't know, December of last year, when I was really hinged on like being in and having my opinion heard. Like, now that I don't really, like, I can have my opinion and feel good in it and not need it to be heard by other people. Now that I've learned how to have that space, oh my God, it's fine. It's so fine. But before that, I was angry a lot. I was angry at myself. I was frustrated at other people. I was like judging other people, like, oh, you're a bad person. Like, it just wasn't worth it, man. It's not worth it. So
you are essentially describing exactly what I'm going through right now. I'm like at the ass end of that, like channeling my anger through tweeting, and now I'm kind of realizing, like, okay, maybe nobody needs to really hear all these takes that I have. So I'm kind of
That's fair.
or I'm kind of like backing away from that and trying to be more of a, I guess, not polarizing person.
A little bit.
So do you have something to add?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily consider myself like full-time, but Twitch has been the most consistent work I've had for probably the past year and a half or so. So in that vein, I have spent a lot of time on it, on social media and stuff. And I will say that in terms of drama, one, it needs to directly involve me. That's one aspect of it. Like, if I'm being misrepresented due to this drama, then yes, it will get to me and I'll feel a need to chime in just to make sure that either A, people hear both sides, my side specifically, or do you guys hear that? Is that just me?
Yeah, I also hear that. It's feedback from someone's mic.
To make sure that I'm being adequately represented when it involves me. The second one being, if there is a big problem I see that I know I can have a positive impact on, or at least think I can, I have misjudged sometimes, then yes, I'll try to chime in. But if it's just like run-of-the-mill nonsense and hate, I mean, I guess if I'm feeling a bit feisty, I might chime in. But at the end of the day, I can only really worry about what's under my control. And what other people do, like, I have no control over that.
Yeah, 100%.
That's fair.
They say anger is the most productive emotion. So when you are fueled by it, just completely on Twitter, just keep getting your claws into outrage, you yourself in your mind feel like you are accomplishing something. You're more alive by just completely absorbing it. But what
that definitely wears out after a while.
Yeah, being angry all the time must be... I mean,
I think it almost gets to a point where, like, you just kind of want more and more and more, and then at a certain point you're like, okay, whoa, this is too much.
Yeah. Consumption, like, I agree. I've been there. I lived a lot of my life like just angry all the time. It's always someone's fault, or someone's always doing something wrong and I'm doing something right. It sucks. Don't do that, please.
So when we were talking about like Twitter and our Twitter interactions, and then a bunch of us also mentioned at the beginning when we were talking about things that we dislike was a lot of the following trends and having to be on multiple platforms and all this stuff. So how do you guys use the other platforms? Like, I suck at Instagram. I can't figure out how to do Instagram. I'm usually all over Twitter. I have figured out how to utilize the Facebook groups that I need to, but YouTube's a pain in the ass because of editing videos, and I don't know how Instagram even works. Like, I can't do it.
So I got a decent handle on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I try to keep it, I don't know. The way I use Twitter is very, like, it's a supplement thing, like, as you should do. But I try to keep my reach, like, slowly growing instead of just blowing it out. And then you just get a lot of people and things interacting that you don't really mess with, you know, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Sure. It's like targeted.
Yeah. Like, because my Twitter, my Instagram, everything I've done came from the music world. So I slowly changed everything over, and Twitter for the most part is the most like gaming streaming oriented platform I have, obviously besides like Twitch and stuff, but everything else is still rooted in like my music career. Do they know? They know I'm here.
Oh no! Oh shit!
Oh no!
Oh no, they found you.
So I have a decent grasp on Twitter, and I know how I want to approach it, and it's very like a grassroots organic way. So the things I'm trying to get interactions on are consistent in growing instead of just like throwing everything out into the world and just like deleting posts that don't do well and like taking that approach, because I feel like that's not very productive. You're going for mass quantity, but the quality is not there, so you're not going to get a return to your other platforms. Like I get quite a few people from Twitter to Twitch. Being a variety streamer, I don't belong to like a gaming community, and it's literally the hardest way to grow on Twitch is being a variety streamer, like straight up. You don't have people that you can fall back on or people in the same wheelhouse as you, so you're doing something completely kind of different and like dabbling and dipping your toes into communities, but it doesn't actually net you anything. Like the amount of people that come off the browser into my stream is probably only like 7% or something. It's like incredibly low, but my retention for followers is like 85%. And people come back because of the more like grassroots approach of knowing who my market is and who my target audience is, and just putting myself in a position, being myself completely, but putting myself in a position that they can see that and be like, oh, I might fuck with this guy. Well, am I allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah.
Too late.
Okay.
No,
just say.
No, I don't think anyone has cussed
on the
yet.
channel.
Yeah, I was just about to say serious, but
Like,
Yeah,
but no one has
fine.
cussed
Do it.
yet, and I was like the first one. I'm like, oh wait.
Dude, you know me better than that. Do it up.
I know. I just didn't know.
No,
It's your
you're
first
good.
time with the show. I didn't know.
That's
you know?
fair. Yeah, no, you're good.
But
I'm
yeah,
gonna say, sorry, go ahead.
I'll just wrap up my point. Basically, like, I try to do the approach of knowing my audience and knowing where I want to be personally with the brand that I'm building outside of music and how to connect it all together. And doing more of like a quality versus quantity approach on Twitter. Instagram, my Instagram's a mess right now. I'm reworking it to get it more into the wheelhouse of music and streaming instead of cool guy band guy thing that like was
You're cool. Look, man. No harm here.
but
we love you.
but like I don't know. The stigma behind band guy is like, I don't want to like I
gross,
barely
yeah, no, I get that.
I barely tell people that I do music in the first place anymore unless they like ask. Because of being, you know, I was full-time touring and stuff since 17. So I've been through like the ringer of like band guys being cool, band guys being edgy, and then all of the shitlords came out, and then like the skis bags came out, and then I came out the other side like I don't want to be like any of that. Yeah. So there's like a connotation to band guy that I try to get rid of.
Do you think that out of like curiosity, do you think that you learn so much about how to manipulate? I'm going to use the term, it's accurate, but it has a negative connotation. But you learn how to manipulate the Twitter system via having done, I would assume so, done so on Twitter for like the band stuff. Like you've done it for music for so long that like, I get it. I just need to apply this to a different genre or sub niche.
Yeah. So like a lot of the things you guys just talked about, I didn't really chime in with like the like anger Twitter drama and all stuff like that because I used to be like that in the band world until I had like the manager and label come down on me and rain hell on me specifically for calling out another dude.
Or you need the manager then.
Basically, I called out another dude who was in a band, and his band's still really popular and does really well, but I called him a shithead and like went off on him because he's like the fakest dude I know and like takes advantage of people who need hope and stuff like that.
Are
But
you in
I was on the same. I was on
Trapped.
Oh my god.
The trap stuff makes
Oh
me
my
laugh
god,
so hard.
it's
Oh
so
my god.
ridiculous.
Trapped. Yes. No, but I was on the same label as this other guy. So the manager and everyone came down on me, and I learned right then and there. I'm like, there are consequences. So I just kind of skirt any of that unless I see friends of mine kind of getting dragged when they shouldn't be, and that's just
like
that's
justice,
like big brother in me. You know, being the
can you be
oldest,
my
and I'm
big
just
brother?
like,
I have a good one. I'll replace him. I think Instagram. Oh, sorry.
No, you're
Hold on.
fine. I was just gonna ask. Oreo,
talk about
Slurp, or
Instagram.
Butt Juice if they have anything to
Yeah, I was
add.
gonna say,
This has
yeah,
been the Dylan
I've
and
talked a
Detune show
lot.
for a minute.
So you said he was basically saying, oh shit, sorry.
No, you can go.
So you said you called him out because he was being fake and taking advantage of hope. So
Taking
basically, what you were.
advantage- Yeah, well, taking advantage of people who like fans who like want, like need help, like mental help, and he's just taking advantage of people.
Oh, one
and,
of
like,
those fellas.
selling hope.
Sounds like
selling,
me.
So he was a music positivity streamer.
Dylan.
Oh boy.
I'll drag
I'm
myself
not
so no one
gonna
else can do it.
confirm or deny any of that. Just duck my head. Yeah.
Hey guys, we can all be happy and positive and on my stream at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm with you
Nailed
there.
it. The branding is on point.
Slurp,
Um,
you're about to add.
I was gonna say I don't know what the fuck I'm doing on Twitter. I try not to
Flail.
step on too many toes. Okay. But again, as I'm sure everyone would agree, authenticity is important, and I also think not going out of our way to upset people is important. Unless that's your shtick. I mean, some people
Oreo.
have that quality. But
Am I the only one here who's never muted Oreo?
I've never muted Oreo.
I never muted him.
Okay,
I
so
muted
it's just me
Oreo
and
for
Dylan,
my
really.
benefit, not because I. It's a
don't
whole story.
really-
We can talk about it later.
I
respect
muted
her as a
Oreo
person.
and I made a tweet about muting Oreo, and then he
Damn,
was like,
okay.
"Oh, okay." And I was
And then she's got the balls to be like, "Hey, I'm going to publicly apologize on my podcast."
I didn't say
I-
his name. I just said some people right now are being really repetitive trolls, and I really don't have the patience for it.
Ooh.
And then he,
I think this talk show is over.
yeah, like he
Oh.
added to it. He added something and was like mute test, and I didn't see it. And then I looked at it later and was like,
Mute test is.
I knew it. I knew
"What
it.
do I have to tell you? Or what can I
I
do
knew
about
it.
it? Like, yeah, it's you. You're being annoying."
Oh my god!
I
mute
unmuted
test. I'm gonna
him.
do that.
Look,
Mute
look.
test is good.
In all fairness, I don't blame any of you for muting me. I don't. I
muted you.
completely understand it.
That's a big deal.
100%.
What I will say. Oh,
No, you started and you're gonna finish, and then maybe I'll go. You got
I
it though. Hold on, wait
appreciate
a second.
that.
Hold on.
What I will say is I noticed Twitter engagement did pick up and become more fun for me when I did decide to let loose a little bit more. And yes, stop using fucking hashtags, especially more than two. Especially more than two. If you want to throw two that are relevant in there, go for it. I try to sometimes, and I know I still fuck it up. But the point being, I actually got really good advice from No Word Count. It was. He was saying it's really simple shit. Just treat it like you're having a conversation with friends. Voila. And it fucking works. And it's a lot more fun to do.
It's a good mentality. I like
Yeah,
that.
that's a good attitude.
You'd think,
hashtags
I
are
thought
not
I knew
relevant
that.
anymore.
Yeah.
Well, the thing
Hashtags
is
and
that I
Twitter.
think like 2009 Twitter hashtags were kind of a big thing, but nowadays the algorithms evolve so much that honestly, unless it's like a big trending hashtag, it really doesn't matter to use it because it's either not used all that frequently or it's so overly saturated. Support small streamers. That nobody's even going to notice you in the massive cloud of everybody else using it anyway. So
If I see a bunch of hashtags, I scroll on. I'm like, no, thank you.
it's
It
same
looks
with
desperate.
the at shit,
And
the
adding-
shout out where there's like 90,000 ats
Please,
between like
yeah.
10 tweets.
Yeah, say Alistair
Don't-
Wesley just said hashtags
don't.
are more like ads these days. And like honestly, if I see a bunch of hashtags,
true.
I assume that it is an ad. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
craft, like not interested.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
Whatever random shit is on the promoted tweets.
All right, Nike,
Look,
go to hell with your hashtag.
I,
you piece of
I
shit. Like-
struggle. I struggle a lot with the adding after streams. Not like, hey, I'm going live at blah 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 blah.
But like
when
thanking
people
for
come,
raids or hosts or
yeah,
whatever.
like
Yeah.
I feel really
I stopped
bad
doing
if
that.
I don't. What?
I'll tell you why I stopped that though.
Okay.
Like, because I feel guilty sometimes because I'm like, man, I should shout people out. But my mentality is if you expect me to shout you out for your raid, I don't need your raid. Like, you should want to raid me because you like me or because you want to meet me or something like that. But if you want a shout out and that's why you raided, I'm not about that life. Like, if we're friends, we're friends, and that goes unspoken, you know. Like, because I used to feel guilty, like, I should like reciprocate, but like, we're friends. I reciprocate with friends.
Oh,
Yeah,
I hate that mentality.
It's
the mentality of being
my
friends.
mentality. Hold on.
No, the mentality of like you should expect them to do something for you because you did something. Basically, support.
It's kind of a follow for when you have people that are pushing that kind of support. I think the biggest thing though is I don't know, for me when it goes to that support for support stuff, it's like, because I think it's kind of ingrained in us, like as kids, because I think we see that in like friendships, right? Like sometimes we're like, oh, like I try to talk to him and be there for him when he needs something, but he's not there for me. Like, I think we always have this idea that like there's always mutual benefit all the time. And so when you go into streaming, you just kind of, I think, make that logical connection, but it's a fallacy. Like, you shouldn't expect someone to do something because you do something.
I think what people don't really understand with it is that they raid you because they want their community that is with you right now to see something either they've never seen before or something fun. When people raid me, they know I'm going to put on a show. I'm going to sing. I'm going to dance. I'm going to be in my pajamas. They don't expect me to go on Twitter and shout them out. They just want to show the people that they care about something cool and something they have never seen before.
That's
and
right.
if they're expecting me to use my clout to shout them out, then they're rating me for the wrong reason. I stopped doing it because somebody actually told me to stop. They go, it's just blowing up my mentions and I don't like it. So I was like, if they must feel like that, a bunch of other people must feel like that.
There's also,
I've heard both.
When you look at Twitter and you look at Twitter's algorithm, if you're tweeting more than like 2 or 3 times a day, your tweets are kind of getting lost in that algorithm because you're kind of sort of what Detune talked about, right? You're spreading yourself out really far, and the algorithm's like, I don't know, what are you about? What are you talking about? Right. So I started doing go live tweets recently to pull people from Twitter in, but I'm not doing them every day. And I'm only tweeting once or twice a day. But if you find yourself doing like tweets after stream and stuff like that, like original tweets, you're kind of messing your own algorithm up. But if you reply to like your go live or something like that's a good way to do that if you really want to get that guilt off, you know. But I think generally speaking, like if you're going to use Twitter in a targeted way, for like original tweets, I think going lives and then like ending stream, like those are kind of a waste of your potential for the algorithm and for engagement.
That's
opinion. So
it also kind of
the going live ones too.
Yeah, also, I think they are kind of a waste sometimes.
Okay.
But it depends. Anyway, talking. We come back to me.
Basically, what I was gonna say is it basically comes down to what you put in your going live posts as well.
That's valid.
Twitter has been very, like, this last update to the back end of it, they've been very harsh on links. When you put a link in there, it is very harsh on it. And pictures do pretty well, but short videos, usually around 60 seconds or under, 30 to 60 seconds do pretty well in the algorithm as of now. And something I do to, like, you know, instead of, hey, I'm live, here's a picture of my face, like, I edit a clip really quickly because it's in my wheelhouse and I'm very proficient at it, so I don't spend a lot of time doing it.
And you're freaking beautiful, but
no, you.
Everyone in this panel is beautiful.
But basically, what I would do is for a go live post, I would post it maybe 10 minutes before I go live. It would be just the video, and it's like a comment on the video, or like, you know, a little saying or whatever, and then I'll comment on the thing itself, like the actual tweet itself. I'll add another tweet to the bottom of it, saying I'm going live and what I'm doing after I've already been live. And I've seen better success with that than just doing a picture or doing just an original tweet, or even a video with the link inside gets buried way quicker and has less of an outreach than doing it the other way.
Do you post the link anywhere? I might have missed it.
Oh, so they changed that. So now the little trick with the media thing, where you can put your link on the video, they changed that to make it
a hyperlink, or just like
that's
a picture of your link
in
the video.
No. What I do is I would post the clip or whatever the clip would be, and then I would add another tweet to the bottom of it with the link in there.
Like a reply,
so anyone who interacted with the original thing will see it, as opposed to getting buried. So, like, if I know this clip that I made of like, some dumb stuff happening in stream is going to be fun and it gets the idea of what the stream's about, people will interact and share it. And then with that comment below, they kind of get a bump and be like, oh, he's live now.
There's two ideas. One idea is that anything with a link that links out, Twitter buries it because Twitter wants you to stay on their platform. So if you're linking out to YouTube, to whatever, generally those are going to get less interaction than a wholesome tweet or anything else, because linking out, they want you to stay on the platform, right? The second idea would be that generally kind of people are geared towards not wanting to like go off the platform. If they're on Twitter, they kind of want to stay on Twitter for the most part, right? So generally things get less interaction from people also, which kind of lays credence to why Twitter throws things away that are link off. So the idea that Tune is gaming the system and saying like, hey, I'm gonna stealth drop you a link. Just scroll down a little bit. I got you. That's
link dropping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a little back alley deal for the link. But I think stuff like that's really sneaky too. And the algorithm's always changing, and we can do our best to deal with it.
I did have one other thing that I wanted to talk about in the like general streaming area that I think might take a little bit of time, so I would like to move on to that. But does anybody have anything else you want to add about the like utilization
social
of
media
other
stuff? I want to talk about Instagram for like a hot second.
Yeah, go for it.
I think you know what's really cool? Instagram being used. Okay, so in an age of like YouTube and video, I think Instagram is really good because I think sometimes we feel the need to post our gaming content or whatever everywhere. And I think while that's like super cool and super neat, I don't think we should. And my perspective on this is like, I don't really talk about my stream much. Like I might do like a Instagram stories go live thing, but for the most part, I talk about music, purely my music on my Instagram. And people really like, because you can't treat Twitter and Instagram the same. They are not the same. You can't hashtag the same. You cannot treat them the same. The engagement's entirely different. So the best thing to do for like Instagram, if you haven't figured it out, is one, Instagram actual posts, they like faces. They don't like your Mountain Dew bottle. They don't like your favorite video game unless you're doing flat lays. And even then, flat lays don't do as well as faces because faces, right? But also like Instagram stories are where you keep up with your audience and your crowd. If they want to know more behind the scenes information about you, what you're doing in your everyday life, like what's going on, like your Crunchwrap Supreme or your chalupas, right, Tune? Like they can see that on Instagram stories, and you should promote it as a way to see you behind the scenes. Because if you're tweeting once or twice a day to be sure the algorithm's like regular for you, you're not really doing that on Twitter. So on Instagram, use Instagram as a behind the scenes method for people to get to interact with you in a very unique way. Ask questions. Like you can set cool alarms through Instagram stories for like big events, like your first YouTube video, your first podcast. Like there's all kinds of ways to game Instagram. And then the other thing I would do on Instagram is actually hashtags, like use hashtags, but research hashtags.
Yes. Hashtags are essential on Instagram.
Yeah. Like don't go for the hashtag that's got 1 million people using it or 3 million posts or 6 million posts. Go for the hashtag that's got like 500,000, 300,000, whatever. But also the other thing that helps you grow on Instagram is like literally commenting on other people's stuff that you don't even know. Like legitimate comments, like trying to interact, because that will you're trying to bring people into the fold, and Instagram doesn't push out the way Twitter does. You know on Twitter, like it's like Sierra liked this tweet and you're like what is this? Why do I get fed something Sierra liked? I don't care about this. But then you read the tweet and you're like, okay, maybe I care about this. Now. Instagram don't do that, right? So unless you're using your discovery tab a lot, you actually need to like go out of your way to meet people and like interact with other people. So hashtag Twitch partners, and then go and comment like, oh my God, like that clip is hilarious. I need to stop by your stream sometime. Like actually engaging with people as people, they will follow you. I've seen 100 followers in like 10 days just in how I changed my Instagram usage. And I sound like I'm really preachy, so I'm going to just drink my beer and be quiet now.
Does anyone else have anything about like
I think
Instagram or YouTube? Or I guess something just other than Twitter.
Well, I don't want to talk about Twitter, but just in general, you see 1 million gaming clips like absolutely everywhere. You got to show content that's your content, stuff that's special to
Twitter exclusive content.
Slurp.
Every Fortnite clip looks the same to me. I don't care how well you do it.
Now let's say it's like your music content. you making the music. My content, I'm not known for even my reacting to the video content, which is like actually my content. The stuff people remember is the me talking to my dog, me dancing around, me falling out of my chair. This is not my regular content. This is just content that
not pre-planned.
and this is not pre-planned, and this is stuff people crave because it lets them, people start to think, hey, I get to see this special moment that doesn't happen very often, because I'm sure you get sick plays in Fortnite all the time, but you don't see someone bash their head falling out of their chair every single day.
Right.
I think the interesting thing there, and Tune does that super well, is you're supposed to use your personality. Like, if I see you straight face playing Fortnite, just like... I don't care. Like, I don't care. I really don't care. So, like, a good example of this, and I'm going to shout these people out, Nixie Puff, if you guys know Nixie Puff, or Sarah Key. Their YouTube channels are a testament to the fact that you can make gaming content that would look ordinary, but it's chopped down and it's like memey and it's funny and it's interactable, because it's less about the content and it's more about the people. So if you're going to do stuff, teach yourself to edit. YouTube is free. I taught myself to edit on YouTube after dropping out of college, and I'm good at it, right? So like, chop and screw your stuff down so that it's like really interactable and funny. And if you're finding that your reactions are lackluster, work on your reactions, and then post that to Twitter. You'll get interactions. You'll get people coming in 100%, always.
It's basically you need to let your personality show, no matter what platform it is. You need to let people know who you are. Like, you can't have like a sick gaming moment and expect that to be cool, because that's just not anymore. I mean, we live in a world right now where people have blown up to play video games. Like, there are pros. Leave it to them to be pros at it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And even if you have, like, say, okay, not to bash all Fortnite people. So if you had a sick play in Fortnite, cool, the play is there, but like, what's your like, what is your personality? Like, how do you handle that? Do you like... Are you the type of person who gets overly stoked? Are you like an XQC who screams at the top of their lungs and there's a market for that? Like, you need to know what you are in order to kind of broadcast that. So it doesn't really matter, like, if you're going like gaming clips, it doesn't really matter what the gaming clip is. It's all about you. And if you're not there, then there's no content.
And
that's my big brother right there. Nailed it.
So I wanted to... The next thing kind of like just blends into that, actually, about like being yourself, because I wanted to talk about when someone's new to streaming, one thing that everybody says about their like discoverability is you need to find your niche. You need to find who you are. You need to apply that to streaming. What is your niche? What is your niche? And like, that can mean a couple different things. We talked a little bit, like, it was talked about if you're like a variety streamer or if you are a specific game streamer, but in like, that can make growth easier, but then as soon as you stray away from that, how do you get away from that? Or it's about like your personality, and that being your niche is who you are. And I wanted to kind of start with Oreo about this, because I haven't heard a ton from you, but I know this is like kind of a thing that you've been dealing with a little bit.
I got a piddle, but I'll have my headset on, so I'll be listening. I'll be right back.
Good deal.
I had so much fear.
Good deal. Oreo, go ahead.
Well, as far as like finding my niche, in order to find my niche, I have to find myself. And I feel like for a lot of people, that's easier said than done. I mean, just a quick background on me. Like, I've always been the class clown. I've always loved making people smile and entertaining them. And I've always loved doing it in kind of an edgy way. But with that, it's hard to describe, but like you have to, there has to be like these windows, these moments where, the raw you comes out and people really get a feel for like, who is the man behind the comedian or who is the man behind the streamer.
Yeah.
Or
what do you, sorry, go ahead.
And it's kind of it's one of those things where you really have to like do soul searching to figure out who you are first before you can find that niche of people that align or resonate with your personality. So I mean, like, for me, obviously you're all very familiar with Angry Oreocide, but how many of you are familiar with
Does he have a soft underbelly?
Level-headed, tame Oreo that just wants to talk about things and have a conversation.
You're still muted, so I don't know. I don't know that one. Where's that one?
What do you think, or what do any of you guys think about the idea of, like, when you are finding yourself, the idea of being authentic versus playing more of a character? Because I think that everyone says, like, be yourself, be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. But then, like, look at Dr. Disrespect. He's totally a character. He's a cartoon.
I'll let everyone else go. I've talked a lot, but I have a lot of like very strong feelings about being yourself. Some of y'all should not be yourselves. All right. Yeah.
ButtJuice was originally a character. Actually, it was a way for me. The screaming, the dancing, the craziness. It originally was a character. It morphed into kind of a little bit more of a high energy version of myself. The thing is, when you're on stage, when you're performing, and you're not being yourself, people can feel it. People can taste it in their mouth. They just know that something is off about you. They immediately distrust you. And that's when you start to see stagnation and growth. But then also that's when you start panicking about your content because you're saying, I'm stagnating, so I need to be less of myself. So in order to I believe that you have to grow and kind of find content that you're more comfortable with. But I also believe that you need to find something that both you enjoy and that they can enjoy watching you do.
Yeah.
Because other than that, you're just, playing a character is fun, but how far can you really take much of it, Even with Dr. Disrespect, a lot of it is him.
Right,
Sadly.
and that's
a lot of that racism is definitely him.
Slurp, what were you going to say? Sorry.
I think Oreo
enter.
brought up a good point, and I think ButtJuice even said it earlier. Like, they like making people laugh. I like making people laugh. We all like entertaining people to some extent. We're fucking streamers. I say the problem, but like I'm with you guys. The problem is the same thing's not gonna make everybody laugh. So at the end of the day, to an extent, we are kind of at the mercy of our audience, not wholly, and that's where the authenticity comes in. That's where, like you were saying, the soul searching comes in. There's definitely there's a balance to be had.
Yes.
In authenticity. Yeah. There's a line, you gotta straddle that puppy tight,
Yeah.
It's not necessarily an authenticity, I don't think. I think, was it Oreocide who mentioned before, or maybe Detune actually, putting oneself in a position to maximize your own potential.
That's Tune for sure. That way, yeah.
That's 100% it, I think. We can try to test the waters and experiment, delve outside of our comfort zone, and it might feel in the moment inauthentic, but I don't think that's true. I think for most people who aren't like sociopaths and who are real in their hearts and minds, like they have a desire to be real and to be truly accepted by people instead of just creating a facade for themselves. I do have a bit of faith in humanity for that.
High five.
It's tricky though, because like if something could be funny one day and it's not funny the next. Look at 2014 until 2020. Tell me all of society has not. I will. All right, maybe we won't.
The landscape changes.
That far.
That's a whole nother conversation.
What was on YouTube when you were in high school? Like, what was viral on YouTube when we were in high school? And then
the internet is for porn.
There it is. There it is.
For porn.
Who remembers
macrocosm, microcosm, as above, so below.
Do you know what I think is the difference between a good content creator and somebody just kind of streaming? Let's put it this way. I have a water bottle right here, and I'm starting to drink it. Now I start to see the top start to come off a little bit. Now somebody that's just streaming would stop drinking and would tighten the top. Someone making content will know in that moment.
Unscrew that, baby.
If it a little bit, the water will fall all over me, and it would be a clip. That's the difference between someone streaming and a content creator. Someone who sees the situation, knows how it will go, can process it within 3 seconds of it happening, and just take that small step to make it truly content.
It's
Is this a segue to titty streamers? Is that...
No, not again!
You put him in a great position. he had the Dracula going. He was like, hold on.
Wait a minute.
I think when it comes to being genuine, I'll say this, like, it's gonna sound like I'm being like facetious or like tooting my own horn. I'm the most genuine dude that you will ever meet in terms of like
Sorry,
you're still muted. Fuck, I can't hear you. What are you talking about?
Let's help each other grow.
Yeah, but what I like for me, like, unless you have clearly like some malice in your heart, like, I want you to succeed. I really do root for people. Like, I don't think I've lived like a particularly super difficult life, like, you know, with like mental illness and stuff. But that's what I talk about on my stream. Like, I talk about like my struggles, and people resonate with that. And I don't think I play up a character, but I think I definitely come alive and have learned how to kind of unlock a part of myself, right? For those of you that, you know, if I walk into your stream, you got 3 viewers, and you're like, I'm like, hey man, what's up? How you doing? And you're like, hey, don't Ross Geller my ass. How are you? Like, what is going on? You know, so like, you know, if you come into my stream and you're like, hey man, what's up? I'm like, hey, how are you? Are you being kind to yourself today? How's your day going? How are you feeling? Like, have you had enough water? Like, what's going on? So like, you know, and you don't need to be like me, but you do need to put effort in. So whether you need to be a character or not depends on how boring you are. And that's kind of a harsh truth that I think people haven't accepted, right? Is like, not everybody's going to make it in this field. So Dr. Disrespect, he needs to play it up and be the 2-time. Oh yeah. Because I'm sure the dude's not like super exciting beyond the depth of being like really like, this is me speaking my own opinions, and is not a, like, you know, Sierra doesn't endorse my thoughts on this, but I don't think there's a lot of there's not a lot of depth to Dr. Disrespect beyond being like,
a WWE character. That's all he is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but even John Cena's got more depth, right? You know what I'm saying? So fair. You know, like, it's one of those things where I think that if you're gonna be a character, you have to lean, like, you have to really lean. You gotta go, you know, and if you're gonna be you, but be maybe an amped up you, be a hype version of you. It's okay to turn the lights off at the end of the day and go, whew, I'm tired, and not say a word the rest of the evening. But you gotta figure out where that middleman is, you know, and if you can't bring it, like, if you can't share parts of yourself or be really authentic, maybe transfer that into being something different, you know, and that's okay. If you want to guard yourself, that's fine. So that's where I lie. I'm going to sip my beer now.
I know that you didn't mean it like that, but I feel like you say I'm the person you would meet. It's kind of the same as saying I respect women the most. It's like, if you have to say that, it's suspicious. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm a nice guy. Like, nice guys don't have to tell me that they're nice.
Sure. I mean, all right, look, if people are looking for negative, they'll find it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to look for bad, you could find it. Like, you could take anything the wrong way.
I've been on Twitter. I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah. I'm saying I'm never going to be that guy that like looks you in the eyes and goes like, hey man, you're doing great, and then like turn around and like shit talk. Like, I have lived a life of a sort that has put me in a position to know what is worth my time and is not. And it is not worth my time to waste my breath on like gassing people up I don't truly believe in, I don't want to see succeed, or I don't. So for me, when you talk to me, and if I love you, I love you. That's it. Done. It's not that hard. It's really not hard to love people. And so for me, yeah. So yeah, I'm the most genuine guy you'll meet. Definitely does sound like a weird, like, fucking, hi, I am, you know, like Dr. Oz, but
make your Twitter profile.
Yeah, hi, I'm the most genuine guy you'll meet. Yeah, but I will say, I'm going to take over the cast for just like another minute. I will say that there is a line when it comes to being genuine, right? As somebody who struggles with like suicide and depression and like those thoughts I'm in therapy, like, but that doesn't mean I'm cured, right? You can't just post that stuff on Twitter. You can't always just post that. You can't always just talk about it. Unfortunately, you really do have to consider a little bit of your brand. You can't, you know, there's a way to talk about mental health on Twitter. There's a way to talk about what's going on in your head, right? There has to be a semblance of hope, because unfortunately people use Twitter as escapism for the most part. And so if you're like, hey, I want to die, people aren't going to be like some people will come and be like, oh man, I'm so sorry. But a lot of people are going to be like, eee, oh shit, that's dark. I didn't want that today.
Just going 0 to 100 real quick. Yeah,
exactly. If you are going to say stuff that is on your mind and true to you, that's okay. But you have to figure out how to tailor that. I know now that if I'm going to talk about mental health on Twitter, there has to be a message of hope. Like, hey guys, I'm struggling today. It's a tough day. I'm doubting my self-worth a little bit, but I know that I'm going to get through this. It's going to pass. And I know that you guys, whatever you're going through, it's going to pass too. We're going to get through this together. That's a different way to say that. And people are like, oh shit.
Point other than self-worth.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So
it's like personal responsibility. Basically what you're saying is like, I mean, if you're going to be, let's be honest here. We have to be honest. We partially for the moods of people around us, whether we like it or not, we are responsible for them. If you are irresponsible with the way you portray yourself and the way you're portraying any sort of hope or any sort of thing, if you project hopelessness, we will project hopelessness on, whatever small, minuscule amount of following or anything we have, we're projecting that onto people. But also to say that we are escapism, I don't believe that at all. I think that we are just people. Like we can't, I fought against that. I fought against that a couple weeks ago when someone says, hey, I don't want to talk about the virus because I believe it's escapism. I go, no, somebody is sitting in my chat, biting their lip until it is bleeding, wanting to talk about their anxieties. Yeah. I think it would be irresponsible to say, we're not talking about that because this is escapism for everyone else. Let's have the conversation.
Positive vibes only.
I mean, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying the world at large, that's how, like, you never see, there's a reason you never see somebody with 50,000 followers really say, hey man, I want to die today. You never see it just left at that. There's always a way to tailor that. And there's a reason why they're in that position, right? We are leaders. And I agree. I didn't ban COVID talk. I've said, hey, I want to reduce COVID talk. And if you're struggling, hey, let's talk that out real quick so you can get that off your chest. I agree with you. I 100% agree. I don't think that we're purely that, but I think that there's a way to tailor that so that it's not just like somebody scrolling through Twitter having a decent day and then, oh my God, that really brought me to a dark place. You want to, and to address chat, I think being vulnerable, you have to tailor your vulnerability, unfortunately, to be a leader in any industry. I mean, it's the way it is,
I definitely think that, like, if you like what you were saying as far as channeling the vulnerability, I definitely think it's also healthy to develop a circle of people that you can kind of confide in, like fellow creators, like, so you don't like just broadcast it to the world, but like in the group chat, just let it out.
You gotta have your one friend. You gotta have your one friend to just like. That's what you do. You dish it back and forth, and you get it off.
Let's put all of our issues on that one friend.
Yeah,
but I love you.
Get that punching bag of a friend.
Hey, if it's mutual,
just throw everything.
I mean, when I come into Dylan's stream, it's usually he's like, "Oh, hey, look, Miss Aggressive is here." Like, that's how it goes.
I mean, we meme, don't you dare.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a back and forth. It's fine.
We call it a ladder. Like each rung is a different person, right? Like
that's also my relationship with Slurp. Like, I mean,
you should always people. Like before broadcasting that kind of stuff, I think that you should go through other rungs of like, oh, let me reach out to this person or this person, my parents, my brother, my friend, like see if they have the emotional capacity to handle me today. And because I think generally speaking, it's not, I don't care if people accept this or not. It's kind of, it's how it feels to me. Being overtly negative on Twitter consistently will kill your brand. It just is the way it is.
It will bring it to that dark
place. Make no mistake,
Depends
it
on
won't
the
kill your
negativity.
brand. It will kill you.
Well, you're also, I mean, like, it depends on the negativity, right? But I think at the end of the day, like, if you keep drinking from the pool of pity, you are going to get poisoned. So I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of therapy and stuff that goes involved with like healing. But what I'm saying for branding and stuff is in terms of like vulnerability, there is a line, and that's
two different sides of the community, though. You have the positive side, which is a lot of Twitter. People are just positive. Hey, we're going to be positive today, and everyone's going to be happy. But then if you cross that line, you can really gain a community. You can get very, very big, but you just have to give up a little part of yourself to do it. You have to be that negative side. You have to go into the depths of Reddit. And you can be that negative streamer and grow, but just know that's what you're gonna be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is
you're not coming back from it. That's what you're gonna be.
As Oreo is like,
I mean, this is a conversation Oreo and I had actually recently, where we were talking about like whatever it is that is your brand, you're all in. You're all like, if you have to give yourself to it 100%.
And you can pivot, but it requires letting go
People
of
remember
everything else. Yeah. Yo,
people always remember.
People think of me as the person last year
Never
who
forget.
did some real bad stuff that I never did, but people don't remember you. People remember what they thought you were, and that's all that matters to them.
True.
People
Perception.
block you, mute you, whatever, and they remember you. They remember you for what they perceived you as, and that's what Oreo is fighting now, right? And
Fighting would be an understatement. Oh my god. Anytime you make any sort of minor change to your brand, like I've done now for probably the second or third time, it's like at least 6 months of just like, why is no one engaging with me? Why is my viewership so low? Oh, failing, I'm losing.
does it help if I just unmuted you? Like I just like consciously was like, I need to unmute this guy.
You could.
Let me bridge that. Let me be the first to start. If anyone out there in the universe is muted Oreo, man's turned a new leaf.
Hashtag unmute Oreo.
I have.
Hashtag get that trending.
I would definitely say though that like just to talk about myself a little bit here.
Yeah, do
it. Some of you might know that I went through a partner push somewhat similar to what I'm guessing Dylan went through. And there was a lot of anger towards the Twitch community that I had in general, just like against all these people that were kind of snake oil salesmen and all these community leaders that were just manipulating people into... there was just a lot of anger towards Twitch that I had, and I spent pretty much all of last year on Twitter channeling that energy and trying to shut as much of that down as I could. I mean, you probably all remember with Royale, sup streamers. Those were the two big ones. Like, it was just a lot of energy put into that. And I think now I've definitely overreached to a point where people associate me as being like very intimidating, very unapproachable. People don't talk to me because they're like afraid I'm going to out them if they say the wrong thing. Like, no, as long as you're a human being with a pulse and you aren't using your platform to take advantage of like new or smaller streamers or anyone in general, I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, you do you.
Those are, definitely like consequences that are unforeseen about that sort of path for sure. Yeah, it's hard to pivot from that.
I think what you also got to realize is when you're seeing someone struggling like that on Twitter, as I saw Oreo, talk to them, DM them, get out of the public eye and let them, because we're all we're all the same people with the same insecurities and the same, the same amount of heart. We gotta start treating each other like people and not like images, not like our brands. And so if you're seeing someone struggle, talk to them person to person. DMs, and say, hey, what's going on? And what can I, not only that, but also kind of, if you need to just vomit into DMs, that's fine. But also like, how can I help? Because we're all in this together. Yeah. We all think we're trying to claw to this stupid invisible mountain, and there's only one place at the top.
Yeah. No, I hate the idea.
There's no crown.
I hate the idea that we are all like competition of each other. Like, we're all kind of doing the same thing, I mean, like, I understand the sense of competition, and I think competition can be really healthy, but I also think that there's a lot of people who take it to such an extreme and are like want to drag people or whatever because they're like, that's my competition, and I'm really over that mentality, because like, maybe it's a competition, but
nobody goes by themselves. Who are you trying to knock off? Like you're not a singular entity. Me talking to Tune or talking to ButtJuice, like if I start retweeting ButtJuice because like he seems like a rad dude, or like now that like I've unmuted Oreo, right? Like as we don't you dare squint at that camera, but like now that like we've all been able to talk, like it like nobody grows without somebody else helping them grow. It just doesn't happen. Right. I don't care who you are, right? True. So yeah, like there's no like you could pretend it's competition, but that is a mentality that they call this hashtag mentality of lack, right? And that That is to say that there's only so many viewers and people are stealing my viewers. No, there's plenty of viewers, my man. All right, there's hundreds of thousands.
So realistically, think about it. Look at all of us here in these squares right now. Like, yeah, we'll have some overlapping thing, but like, we all have our own area. We all have viewers who are gonna come and seek out what we do as individuals. Like, I am never gonna think like, oh, I'll never promote Butt Juice over here because all my viewers will go there, and like that's it. Like, no, it's different content. Like, we're doing different things. Like people who watch my stream will love your stream too, but they'll love it for a different reason because we're not doing the same thing.
Like, I have overlapping viewers with all of you, but like
exactly. And whatever the viewer wants to see then and there when they log on to Twitch, that's what they're gonna seek out. It's not like I own them and that's it. I won't support anyone else because it's gonna impact me, and I'm gonna no, get out of here with that. Like that,
right?
It's
like
fear.
When I look at my analytics, the person who I have the most shared community with is Slurp.
Is it me?
But like, I know it's Slurp. I have like the most shared community with Slurp.
Now I want to look at
but like, that doesn't make me stop from promoting him. Like, I think that's I think it's silly. You know what I mean?
Such a
great dude.
So I appreciate that, Sierra. You were awesome yourself. I will say, I think it's weird. Look,
sipping ain't easy.
Oh,
I think that it's weird.
Got him.
It's the bow tie, isn't it?
Partly.
I hate that word so much. That's why.
True.
I think it's strange that people like so actively dissociate helping others and competition just by the nature. I'm getting that echo again in my face. Just by the nature of streaming at the same time, like it was mentioned before. Yes, but the competition becomes a byproduct, not an intent. And I think most people who have grown or matured or seen enough in their lives will understand that 99.9% of the time, we grow the most efficiently, and in the most fulfilled way when we are uplifting others. There's it to me. Yes, one single person can be my friend, my competitor, my mentor, even my fucking spouse at the same time. It doesn't. There's no love lost just because someone happens to be my competition.
Mm-hmm. I think I'll give perspective just on people that don't raid or are scared to raid, because when I was a new broadcaster, I was so afraid and unsure of myself. I would raid broadcasters and have the active thought in my head, wow, they're actually way better at this than me. I'm actually kind of scared some of my people maybe don't come back. Maybe this is their new stream. And it would be easy for us to go in like, oh man, that's greedy, but hold on, that it's fear. And if you're going to tell me you've never been kind of a little bit afraid of like anything in that like wheelhouse, I think you're kind of a liar a little bit. I think realistically, it's okay to be afraid that like you're not good enough, because that's what that is, right? But again, it goes back to what Toon says. We all do very specific things for specific reasons, and people love us for specific reasons. And you gotta remind yourself of your reason. If you don't know it yet, do a little soul searching, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But that fear is natural, but don't let that stop you from supporting others, right? It's your choice not to raid other people. I think it does hinder your growth. I think it does hinder your capability. I think it hinders your ability to support and boost others, because we live in an industry that's about relevance. And if you're not rating others, that also at minimum hurts how relevant you are to other people in their mind share. So
I think what everybody doesn't realize is that the same pool of 500 people are liking all of our tweets. Mm-hmm. I'm sure if I had a tweet that was 100 likes and Oreo had 100, I'm sure 70 of them are the same people. Mm-hmm. So we're not really stealing anybody away from anybody. It's all the same people.
Right. It's one big Twitch is one big community, and like
I don't let my viewers like other people's tweets.
Hard ban. Yeah.
You're not welcome here if you like anybody else's content.
I will say an amazing quote that probably my top quote of all time. It's usually attributed to, I think, Ralph Waldo Emerson. The love that you withhold is the pain that you carry. And that shit speaks
like that.
to me.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart. I'll say in chat, I know I'm going to address chat. Sorry, I don't know if this is breaking the
go
rules.
for it.
Wild Spice says, I've raided people before and got nada. Like, I don't raid if I have only a handful of people. If somebody doesn't appreciate your raid, regardless of the quantity, maybe you should stop raiding that person. But that's not a reflection on you.
So
If
that's
somebody's
something
like,
I
oh my
used
god,
to-
it's so good to see you. Like,
I used to
at
be
minimum,
so
they should
scared
love
about
seeing
that.
you.
Like,
yeah.
when I was like a new streamer and I would only have, like 5 viewers or something, I was really self-conscious about rating, and I was like, oh god, they have like 20, 30, 40 viewers. I can't come in there with my 5. I'm going to look ridiculous, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like I used to have like a big complex about that. But like now I'm starting to become a streamer that has, 30, 40 viewers at a time, and I'll have people come in and raid me with 3, and I'm so stoked. Like, not only are you here, and I'm so excited to see you.
Somebody
but,
thought
like,
of you today.
Yeah, it's like you decided to come here, and you also decided that this is a place that you want to share your community with, no matter what size that community is. You said, hey guys, you're all gonna like this, and I want you to come here. Like, that means so much.
Yeah, 3 people raids get me like half chubbed. I fucking love them.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
much.
About it.
Take anything I can get for sure.
Yeah, and it's not that
Is it
good.
full,
I've
or-
gotten like 100 people raids where nobody says a word. It's literally like 100 lurkers. I've gotten 3-person raids where they stay the rest of the stream.
Yeah, I've gotten
and they're keeping
Royale
the
raids
streak going.
too.
Yep,
Yeah.
the small raids are the ones that are like the most like
Says he's
into
not toxic
it
no more.
sometimes.
And that's an interesting dynamic, because people say like numbers don't matter, and in and of themselves they fucking don't, but the human beings behind them do.
Yeah.
Engagement matters.
Yes.
It's the engagement.
Which you can't really get without outreach to a large amount of people, which are the numbers.
It's
Right.
like one thing that I tell people to keep in mind is it doesn't matter who you get, like the amount of people you get rated by really doesn't matter. That person chose you on a platform of 3 million people. They decided you were the one that I want. Like, it doesn't matter 500 viewers. I want to share what I'm building over here with you. And if you think about it for that mindset, and even if you were rating people, like, and you have a smaller view count, like if you think about it that way of like, I want to share what I'm doing with this person specifically because I like them or I like their content, or I'm meant to check out their stream. They're cool on Twitter or whatever. Let's go see what it's about. It comes into realizing like there are people behind the screens. It's not just that red number in the corner.
Yep.
Like, imagine 3 people walk into your room right now. You're like, what? Whoa. Hi.
What's up, homie?
Yeah, no, that's when I first
Well,
started
that
streaming.
might-
That was a thing. I was sitting on the couch talking to the guy I was seeing at the time about a game that he like didn't really care about, and he was like, "You should start streaming because imagine that 3 people come in here and
Are just
watch you.
chilling,
That's
yeah.
already like 2 more than who's sitting here right now. Like that.
Yeah,
may
3
not
people
seem like a
coming
lot,
into
but,
my
like,
room
it's
excited to see me. What am I, a partner?
I'm on my way.
That's been the hardest thing for me because I've reignited a lot of these fears. When I was like an affiliate, I had a lot of these fears, and then I took hiatus for 2 months and came back and had 20 viewers as a partner, and I was like, people used to know who I was with 100 viewers. Now, like, I'm gonna get laughed at, and so I've had these fears before, and 100%. Like, if somebody doesn't appreciate your raid, don't raid them again. Done.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
You're a human being, like you. What Tune said earlier, and I always say this: like, you have finite time on this earth, and if you're like this, my homie, my dude, I want to share the love with this person. They're wonderful. Like, and if you spread that love to them, and they're like, it's only 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not the problem, So yeah.
Does anyone else have anything they wanted to say on that topic before I move on to anything? Is there anything anyone needs to add? We good? Cool. I was gonna do a break to like for questions from chat right now, but I'm gonna go a little bit out of order because I think I only have like 40 minutes before.
I can extend my time a little bit. That's all right.
You can extend it a little bit. Well, there's a couple things that I definitely wanted to make sure that I hear from you specifically about. So
I'm the problem kid here that had to like leave it. Just so everyone, Tune's like,
This guy.
I
We're all
want to make sure
quarantined.
that there's a couple things that I want to make sure that like get addressed before I lose Dylan. Hopefully I can get everything before then, but at the very least, I
My
wanted to
bleeding heart.
address cancel culture. And there is one member of this panel that has been canceled before. So I want to hear from Dylan about your experience with getting canceled.
Do you want me to tell the story? Do you want to fill people in?
Yeah, please do tell
like
the story.
like overview, like the cliff notes. Okay. So last year I've always been the mental health guy. It's so important we talk about mental health, and I feel like we do in this really pseudo sort of fake way of like mental health matters. Go see a therapist. Don't talk to me. Get out of here. Positive vibes only. So I last year I wanted to start essentially what was kind of AA meetings, but for people that just were struggling. No therapeutic advice, but just like, hey man, you're struggling. What's going on? And just sitting kind of round robin style, just talking and then having a good day. And I wanted to do that via Patreon. Because like it was going to take time out of me, it was going to take time out of my stuff doing that, and I wanted to sit down with people. In hindsight, I understand there's a lot of regulations that now go into that, and I totally can see like there are some issues with that idea. It's not a bad idea, I think, given that therapy is not covered by any really like insurance companies, Medicaid, Medicare, like stuff like that. But so what happened is I'm talking in stream one day. Right. And I'm telling this guy is talking about his depression a little bit. And he's like, I just can't get myself to do stuff. And I was like, look, man, I get it. Like, I've been there. Depression's tough. Like, I think we have control over what we choose to do. We got to figure out how to get through that. I was like, I've been there. The one thing I'll say is that like mental illness, for the most part, in a lot of cases, doesn't control our behavior, just controls our emotions, how we feel, and our energy levels. So sometimes for me, I got to get a little rough with myself. I got to kick myself in the ass. Sometimes I got to be like, look, you could let the day slip by. You can get the fuck up. You could do something. You can make something out of yourself because nothing gets better. And that fires me up. Well, an individual caught that part of my stream, that snippet, that 1 minute, and they tweeted out that I said depression was a choice and that you just got to get the fuck up and ignore it. It's basically the summary of the tweets. Now,
it was a dumpster fire.
So have you guys, we all know what like coloring is, right? So say that you took and you colored all of the negative space around an object, right? So like there's an apple and you color around it, but you can see the stem and you can see the leaf, even though you haven't colored it in. That's what these tweets were, right? So it was like this guy who talks about mental health, who is writing an ebook about his experiences, who may not be live right now.
Because I saw the tweet and I was like, that can't be Dylan. But like, is it Dylan? Because he's writing a book.
People don't know that I wrote an ebook. I wrote an ebook about like my experience with my suicidality and what I've learned over the past 10 years. I don't talk about that book because I got canceled on the backbone of that book. Because I was like, I think this is valuable information that people should like maybe would want to feel validated in their experience, right? And feel validated in their journey to get professional help, to get therapy. Like my whole mission in life is, damn, he's talking about it and he made the choice. So maybe like that can give me some courage and oomph to make those choices, to go to therapy and get medication. That's all I've ever wanted. I'm clearly not a therapist because I'm in therapy. But so this tweet blew up. I was live when I read the tweet, and I kid you not, when this ginger face turned red and just was like shocked, and I saw this person lurking in my stream. I'm not going to call them out because I think people make mistakes, and I hope that to this day he regrets what he did. But I saw this tweet blow up to like 10,000 likes, comments that were like, they're going to get someone killed. They're a terrible human being. Well, I can't believe that. People should be talking about mental health. And I ceased everything. I stopped streaming. I fell into like a really deep pit of like, people were DMing me being like, you're going to get people killed. You're a monster. You're exploiting people. Wow. Like, I had people that I'd hung out at PAX East with, like prominent people now that I won't name, but like we'd hung out and we had a good time and like we knew each other like on a personal basis. Unfollow me, stop talking to me. I texted one of them and was like, I thought like we were good, but you never asked like my side. You just kind of saw Twitter and what happened there. And if you guys don't know, I date Ashney. She's my partner. I love her dearly, but I think for all intents and purposes, I was on.
Oh, she uses the term pet.
That's fair. I mean, that's valid. Yeah, I'll take it.
Would you say it was the partner pet? Or would you say it was the pylon that was worse?
It was the fact. So this person that tweeted this, and this is what has fucked me up to this day about friendships and Twitch. this person I've known for years. And the last DM that we'd sent to each other was months before that, saying, "Hey man, I love you. I love you too. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're being okay." And then this person, instead of DMing me, took publicly to call me out.
Jeez.
So the fact there was a level of like betrayal that was like, I thought we were super close. Like, you don't just tell a dude like it was. Look, I'm a soy boy, right? We've talked about this, but like, I was like, hey man, like, I seriously got your back. I love you, man. Like, I love what you stand for. Like, you're a good human. And then for what I believe to be betrayed was really tough. But then the pile-on was rough. And to be told by random strangers that you're going to get kids killed, that you're going to result in the death of somebody, that stuff weighed heavily on my mind, because that's never anything I've ever wanted. So I think the pile-on was ultimately worse, but I've been so... Since then, I went into this shell, and for months, it took me a very long time to reach out to friends and be like, hey man, like, are we good? Like, I literally had to go almost person to person and go like, are we friends? Because I know that you saw that blow up. Where was your stance? Where was your footing? Do you hate me? Do I not know? And there are still people I don't know if they hate me or not. And I lost everything. I lost my income. I was making $1,500 a month, and that's not like, I was just paying my bills, you know what I mean? Like, I was thriving, I was doing okay. I'm making less than 300 now, like on streaming and social media and all that stuff. Like, I lost everything because it affected me so drastically. And so my stance on cancel culture is, if you have feedback for somebody to make them better and to help them improve, if you don't like what they're doing, shut the fuck up and DM them, right? Like taking to the public to, like, unless like if it's
but how will I get my clout?
Right, exactly.
I want to grow off of your suffering.
That was evident, not from you, but I'll say, like, if you're going after Ninja, if you're going after a Ninja or somebody, like, sure, but if you want, okay, there's a dividing line. It's social media. So why would you post something publicly? To get social acceptance, to get people behind it. So you clearly didn't have my best interest in mind. All you cared about was getting that social aspect off. So if you care about somebody, the 100%, like, I don't care if it's a Linity, I don't care who it is. Like, I don't participate in that bullshit anymore, because I don't ever know the full story of a clip, of a tweet, of a like. I don't even care.
Bunny is a perfect example.
There's a cat drinking vodka. I'm just saying.
Even if I think I know, it's not my fucking job. I'm not the police. I'm not gonna be like, she shouldn't have a career. She shouldn't pay her bills. Like, that's not my job. You know what my job is? Sit here and stream. Sit here and shut up and stream and try to, like, help people. But that's because I've been affected to the point of wanting to kill myself. So many people hated me for such a long period of time that I get it. You shouldn't. Yeah, and I didn't do anything, right? At the end of the day, like, do I agree with certain people doing certain things? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not judge, jury, or executioner. I don't believe I'm above it all, and I'm not about to sit here and virtue signal and tell somebody you shouldn't do that. You should be banned. You should.
Virtue
if I think
signal, new vocabulary word for Detune.
I think if somebody is doing something wrong on Twitch, I'll go report their channel silently. Be done. I'm not tweeting about it because I don't need acceptance from the rest of the world that my opinion on a matter is the right opinion. I don't care. True. It's my opinion. If I think you're doing something wrong, cool. Report, done. Cool. Talk to Ashney about it behind the scenes. Have a good ass stream. What's up? How y'all doing? I've seen how it can ruin lives. And I was canceled at the exact same time that Gothix was canceled for something that I think was utterly ridiculous.
Oh, that.
So,
okay.
And talking to her and how she literally quit everything and went to therapy because she was on the edge. You don't know how, like, you think you're just a person replying to a tweet that has 20,000. Sometimes people, like, read that. Sometimes people go to bed crying because of that shit. Your words have more impact than you could ever possibly hope to imagine. So think before you speak. If you think it's social media, it's just like an icon with a picture of a person. No, it's a real human being. And honestly, at the end of the day, I was made to be like a demon. And so and the reason I muted Oreo was actually during some of the stuff you were doing with
the like cancel me because like
it was you were kind of going after a company or something like that. I don't remember what it was.
That girl?
It wasn't.
Because that's when I muted him. I muted him when he came after
I
Bad Bunny.
gotta be honest.
Doing all
I've
that.
gone after so many people.
He's gone after a lot of people. Yeah.
When you came after Bad Bunny is when I muted you.
Yeah, I think maybe it was
Bunny
around
thing
Bad
was
Bunny
interesting.
time. But I agree with you there. But like I was just like, I've seen how ugly this gets, and it to see people get canceled now puts me in such a negative headspace that I don't want to say that I have like PTSD about it, but it makes me so uncomfortable. Even like seeing the Australian wildfire charity stuff that happened, and like seeing the like all the like, no matter where I stood on it, I was like, oh, people getting yelled at en masse on the internet freaks me the fuck out, because I don't want someone to die. Like,
True.
That's like the instant gut reaction for me. And you know, it is what it is. Call me weak or call me whatever, right? Because I know some people just don't get where I'm coming from. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think that we understand where our words are really going sometimes.
It's true.
And it's from my perspective, like, and from Ashley, like her perspective, I didn't, like, I have a daughter that I go see pretty routinely. I didn't see her for several months. I literally was just gone I was dead to the world. And I'm lucky I'm alive today. I'm really happy I'm alive today. And I've had to to be able to stream again and continue talking about mental health, and then continue to write music about mental health. I've come through a lot, but it still messes with me. And there is no timer on trauma. So if you attack somebody, just whether you do or not, be aware of like what that means. So
I have two things.
Say ButtJuice, you've got a shirt that says "Cancel ButtJuice." I want to hear something from you.
I'll be listening. I got to pee real quick. Too many beers.
Go for it.
Okay, so I have two things. Number one, when it comes to people that you thought you were cool with until something happens, you know, Caesar thought Brutus was cool with them right until the very end. It happens, man. It happens to people you least expect it with. And the fact is, you just got to know that the only person that will actually like you till the very end. This is going to sound sad, but the only person that will really like you till the end is you.
That's correct.
People will find a way to shit on you. Number two, this was the thing that bothered me so much. A person on Twitch broadcast themselves going into a synagogue and killing Jewish people. Now, I went to the comments section where Twitch talked about the stream and how they took it down. And when you looked at the comments, every single one was about Alinity. You'll take this down, but not Alinity. And when I saw that, I told myself, I'm like, I'm fucking done with this. I don't, I'm sorry that sad human beings out there are like, you'll do this, but not that. It was
that's a virtue signal.
Something.
Yeah,
it was
that's a virtue signal.
That's a bad place for a virtue signal.
Yeah.
And it personally affected me. My family, goes to those synagogues. In the current climate of the nation, we're afraid. It's a very real fear. And to downplay it because you're memeing or you're doing whatever to me, it was revolting, man.
People don't understand the consequences of how far that stuff goes. Yeah. And so like maybe Alinity's learned or whatever, but like the fact, like I can go to her post now and guarantee somebody's like talking about it still, and
she can't do anything anymore without
you can not like her, but you can also not compare her to shootings.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Thing is like there's clear, like I don't know. I'd like to believe. I try to believe the best I try to believe, even if you're maybe like not doing smart things or you're being very mean, that you've had a tough childhood, and that's sort of in a way kind of. So people that kind of say those sorts of things, like comparing those two, one's a tragedy and one is like, that's not cool. You know what I mean? Like those are different. When that kind of stuff happens, I always just like in my head just have to be like, I just assume you don't really understand the real world, because otherwise I'm just mad.
Right.
Like,
I mean, most of these people are like 12-year-olds just trying to get a reaction out of people anyway. So
right.
So all the guys in here, remember when we were going? Oh, sorry, go for it.
Like who seriously could reach the age of adulthood thinking that? You know what I mean? Like it's. I know. There's probably some, because I give humanity too much credit, but
I used to be an internet hassle, but like not everybody grows out of it. Some people just stay in their bubbles, and it's sad.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, when we were like, remember going through to all the dudes here, remember going through puberty and just being angry?
Yeah.
Just
I
like
remember jerking off a
confusion,
lot.
anger, just like that's like millions of people on Twitch right now. It's
Except
just
they're
angry.
perpetual puberty, apparently. You know, like
Right, they're grown ass humans.
yeah.
They're grown. They're interacting with grown ass humans that have grown ass feelings, and this is stuff that's either important to them or their livelihood.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing with cancel culture, whether you are just a viewer, a bystander, another streamer, is forethought. Like before you speak your words to the internet, where you're like, "Oh, that'll disappear in a week, whatever." No one will. It 100% like matters. Whether it's about the synagogues, like you shouldn't ever make fun of something like that. I remember the exact, like it was me and Ashley were in a car thrift shopping, and then we got in the car and we were driving, and she was like, "Oh my god, this happened on Twitch," and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I very specifically remember that moment. It's not something to like take lightly, you know. Like think before you speak. Like emotions aren't for weak people; they're for normal human beings, right? And we should respect everybody's like emotions. And if you are gonna go after somebody, at least think before you do it. For the love of God, like tailor it as a conversation.
Right.
That's fair.
Slurp, do you have anything to add? So you kind of reeled back when the alinity thing got mentioned, but you haven't said anything other than that.
All right. So okay, I do. I forgot. So there's a few things with Twitter. I stand by what I said before, and not just for Twitter, but for anything. If I feel like I can make a positive impact, if there's a teachable moment, if I feel I can stand up for someone in need, if not my own beliefs, then I'll likely do it. That said, I'm also not the type to just look at a clip and be like, oh shit, this is what it is. Usually I'll ask for context. What's going on? What's the story around this? With the other shit, I saw a cat being fed vodka and thrown. But look, everyone's got their opinions on that. We don't need to spend too much time on it.
I don't want to necessarily try to cancel anybody during this stream. Like, a conversation is one thing.
So that's the thing, though. Like, our perceptions are different. What is acceptable and what isn't, and to what extent for how long it should last is going to differ between everybody. But I think everybody would do well to sort of take a step back and not go off of their knee-jerk reactions of like, this person did this, let's get them. Like, that sort of confirmation bias is rife in society. If someone doesn't like you just a little bit, if they want you to fail because they're envious or just hateful or have their own misery going on, then like any little mistake is fair game. And it's a disgusting mindset because, like, I think everyone here has pretty much said, we're all human beings. Like, we're trying to get by in this world, doing what we love, and largely spreading love. People need to chill the fuck out and accept that to an extent. I love animals, though. I'm just saying.
I hate me and
oh, you just cut out real bad, but Juice.
I said, what if I hate me and want me to fail?
Hey, there's no self-deprecation allowed.
Create a duplicate Twitter account and bash yourself and share out of context clips. That's fucking huge. Those of you who have been to my streams know I say some off-the-wall shit. I mean, we'll go 1 minute from fucking psychological, philosophical discussion to like alligator cock. So like thighs, alligator
the thigh conversation.
Me, I likes it. But getting clipped out of context, that shit scares me, especially after hearing Dylan's story. Like, I like it for comedic effect. If I'm saying some like weird shit, go for it. But like, if I'm making a joke or we're having a serious conversation or I say something off the wall and it's applied in an irrelevant context, like we've seen here with Dylan sharing his story, that could cause unnecessary, to say the least, damage.
The fun part is I didn't even get clipped. They ain't gotta clip you.
Right.
They could put your ass in the dirt with just their opinion.
Their words, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Ooh, 'cause Slurp
I
was saying-
misunderstood. I thought you said you were clipped.
no, I wasn't
they
even close.
just
I was
caught the
literally
end of his
like,
sentence and
yeah, they
posted
literally
about
just
it.
like transcribed it, like, and then like sent it, and that was it. And
How? That's fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
So
it is.
I have a
Horrifying.
question
Because
on
then we
that.
can make up
actually.
Snuff
anything.
that out. What the fuck?
Like,
Guys, there's so much awful shit people say that I say you don't have to lie about it. Just pick your fucking poison.
Slurp has
Like,
been in my channel before when someone's asked me a question that was like well-meaning, and I like was dancing around my words and was like, well, okay, hold on, I can't say that because like if I say that, you're gonna clip me halfway through the middle and my life is over. So I have to figure out another way to say that. Detune, you've been pretty quiet. Do you have anything to add?
I'm
sorry,
listening.
Dylan. I said Detune's just been rather quiet. I want to make sure that he doesn't feel.
I did want to
no.
contextualize everything that happened.
I would like to cap off what I was saying, if you don't mind. It's like
Sure.
one sentence. It goes back into what I was saying about getting involved in social media disputes when me being inadequately represented is on the line. If I fuck up, I'll apologize for it or I'll double down. But at least let it be true. Let whatever's going on be the truth. That's all I would ask.
right.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
did you hit
Yeah,
your
what-
face
the-
on something?
Yeah, I hit my face on my desk, but I'm like,
Oh my God, are you
fine.
okay?
Fine.
For the clout. He
I
went,
I actually have marks
Fucking
on
no.
this desk. I don't know if you can see it, but you see these.
where are we going? Where are we going?
Oh,
Where are we
boy.
going?
Okay, so you see these marks on the desk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my tooth. This one is my tooth hitting the
Oh
desk.
God!
Oh,
This
fuck?
one is where I just made on the desk.
Protect the teeth, D2.
Why is it always teeth?
This one too. Where is it at? There it is.
That boy's
Yeah,
got
so this is all from me hitting my face on the desk. My what's it called? My chair is has a wobbly front leg, so when I lean in too much, it comes out from under me. And the first thing that I actually hit is my desk. So I bashed my tooth. I've hit my head. My ear rang for like 2 days.
Are you a
Can-
Lemony
can we-
Snicket character? What the
For
fuck
anyone
is
who
going
is,
on?
Have you
listening
thought about
to
not
this-
ramming your head on the desk?
Look,
For
How about
anyone
not
who-
slamming my head on the desk?
Can we get?
Yeah, for
We're
anyone who's
putting my
listening
piece
but
on
not
these.
watching, I know the CDC has said for us to all not touch our faces, but ButtJuice just showed us all his teeth marks on the desk, and everyone's
help
hands went to our mouths.
don't call
Listen,
us.
I mean,
Can
my
we get a
head- I don't
donation
know if
goal
you can
going
actually
for
see,
a chair
but
leg
I
for
was
butt juice,
born with
please?
a very like
Get him one leg.
Just
like, my
one chair
skull
leg.
is insanely where is it? Like this, see, like let's see, this is like metal. So like if you like right there, I don't even feel it. My head is like really, really, really thick. So
Oh my
I could
God.
like
That's a nice
I used
quirk
to
you got.
smash my head on bricks. I used to like I've fallen off bikes, like smash my face into pavement. I have not had a head injury.
I will say that I did get to have a DM conversation with the person who did subtweet me, essentially is what it was. And their thoughts on it were boiled down to, hey man, I didn't realize it was going to go that big. I'm sorry for what happened. I was really mad and I tweeted it before I really thought it through, but the tweet was never taken down. So
Okay.
so it's okay, and it's like
likely
I'll say this, like I'll say
Tongue
this.
in cheek.
Oreo's done it. I've done it. Like I know I've done it. I've said some shit on Twitter that has been like, man, fuck this guy. This guy's an asshole. Whatever.
I've done it.
But
Not proud of
like,
it. I've done it.
and it's okay to like grow and evolve and be a better person. I am operating under the same assumption I would want that he has grown and learned from that exact experience, and I hope that grace is being given to me by someone out there. So, but I will say, like, it's okay to apologize for that stuff, but like if you do that, take it down, man. Like people can retroactively see everything.
Yeah.
For him not to take it down, it's like, okay, dude, do you really mean what you're trying to say right now?
Yeah.
Right, like you're really gonna die on this hill.
Clout changes people, man.
I guess one thing to add about the whole like Twitter staying out of cancel culture and stuff like that and what can happen. I never experienced that, and I try my best not to like fall into that trap of like canceling somebody. But I was dragged for talking to a friend, trying to help a friend who was like so dead set on it was some drama with Amaranth. I don't know. She's always having drama.
Oh, I was
remember
there.
that?
I remember that, the grocery store thing.
Yeah, so like it was a friend of mine who was going
That's where
way
I
too
found
hard
you.
on it. Yeah, it was a friend of mine going way too hard on it, and I was like, I literally was just talking to him, and his tweet didn't blow up or anything, and I was like, hey, you know, I like just like I go through words for a living. I break words apart, and I analyze and do this stuff. I transcribe things for a living. One of my jobs I do, and I was like, hey, I'm going to do this right now because I'm at my desk. It'll take me like 3 seconds. I did it, and I showed him in a DM, but somebody saw my one tweet talking to him saying that, like, you know, it's my job and I did this, and I showed him, and he was like all about it. And he was like, yeah, sweet. Okay, I regret what I said. He deleted his tweet. People found my tweet about it, and then it just like got thrown around the internet. And then she even retweeted me saying that she didn't say it, and I'm like, I'm a professional and this is my job. She retweeted it, and then people started attacking me, and it like devolved into this crazy thing of people blowing up my DMs, calling me the N-word, calling me all this stuff about defending her.
How's that even
saying
Wait,
she-
they called you the
Yes.
N-word? Wait, what?
Yes. Yes. This is when I just stopped, just left like everything with Twitter. I was like, okay. I literally was talking to a friend on a tweet that had like, 10 likes. It was just like my friend who streams. I was like, hey man, you gotta like, don't fall into everything. Let me show you. And I showed him, he was about it. And people were like, you gotta post this. You gotta do this. Like, proof or it didn't happen. I'm like, fuck you guys. Like, I don't want to be involved, to the point where Amaranth started talking to me. And I was like, hey, I'm like, I even told him, like, your content's not my thing. Like, I respect you. You are very smart in what you do. You are brilliant as a businesswoman. Like,
No one respects women more than Detune.
oh my god.
She won't see this, bro.
Anyway, I was just like, hey, you have to stop using me as the source because I'm getting attacked for it. And like, she didn't understand because she was like, she's used to being attacked on the internet.
Right.
And I'm like, I didn't do anything. I just want to be left alone. And it's just like, even when you have good intentions, you have to be careful on where you stick your neck out, I guess, is like the moral of it. Because I was like, oh, I didn't do anything. Like, let me talk to my friend.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I mean, at the end of the day, all you're really trying to do is you're interested in the pursuit of truth. And of course, there are going to be people that, they're so set in their ways. They're so adamant about just hating Amaranth that they're like, no, she definitely said this, dude. Like, you have to be fucking stupid.
and they're
not to
like,
do that.
I slowed down the audio. And I'm like, okay, from a professional standpoint, slowing down the audio makes the problem worse.
Right.
That
Confirmation bias is
that like
stronger.
destroys trying to figure out how people are saying. Slowing it down just emphasizes the speech impediment.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like trying to explain this. I'm like, fuck this. I'm just done. And eventually she like stepped in and got everyone to like stop and was like, just attack me if you think I have a problem. Like, don't attack him.
Mm-hmm.
But it basically comes down to like, you just got to be ready for anything, I guess, would be how to wrap that up. Like, no matter if it's a misunderstanding in a clip on your stream, or you tweeted something and somebody read it wrong and they're like, oh, this guy hates this.
That happens to me all the time.
It's like, literally, they will misread what you say because they have this idea of who you are, and then immediately, instead of just reading it again, they retweet it, they start flaming, that gets traction because people love drama sells. Drama sells,
I live on Twitter, and you are a voice of reason throughout like the entire thing. I can't really like. When you live on Twitter, like some of us do, you kind of can start sniffing out what people are trying to accomplish. Everybody has motivation. You can start sniffing out what do they want to accomplish, how do they want to be seen, how are they trying to get there. What are they going to do when they do get there? I've seen you as a very large voice of reason, of someone that will actually straight shoot. A lot of people won't straight shoot, but I see it a lot from you.
Thank you.
And
that comes from years of bullshit in the music industry.
Yeah.
Like, be ready for the street. Like, essentially, it's the same thing. The same mindset and ideas kind of go into it. And that's what I try to teach and show people also. You know, I'm relatively new to streaming. I haven't even been streaming for 2 years yet, but having all of that past experience.
Sorry, I have my window open. It's really hot in here. There was a car outside. Sorry.
Having all that.
That was Bash. Don't lie.
It was
I can kind of cater it to show like my experiences and how it can translate, and I try to do that, especially for people who I know like have good intentions or just like, you know, they're fucking up, and I'm just like, okay, I don't want to put my neck out there, but I care about you. And I'll hit them up in DMs, or if it's like, you know, a very calm tweet or something, there's not a lot of faces there, I'll just talk to them and be like, yo. But it's, yeah, sorry, I'm ranting at this point.
No, we come from very similar, we come from very work. You're in music and I'm in reality TV. So in both of them, you kind of realize, it's all, when it all comes to entertainment, it's about going your way up. And you can see people in the music industry, you know, how they're trying to kind of claw their way up. I see people in reality TV, how they try to claw their way into shows and into people's homes and everything like that. And once you kind of see how you don't do it, it makes it easier to figure out how to do it correctly.
Yeah.
Like how to be, you know, you can't teach being genuine, but you can safeguard against not being genuine.
Yeah,
true.
I think the final thing I have, because this, like, we're all very gloom and doom about Twitter. Like, it sounds like we're just like, everyone will fuck you. Nothing matters. Like, but I think I'll say there's always going to be somebody that hates something. There could be a dude that rescues a puppy from getting hit by a van in the middle of the road, and somebody's going to be like, yo, he only did it for the television. Like,
yeah.
So it does, like, there are people that make, you know, nonprofit charity organizations that do lots of great work that still get, you know, all kinds of shit all the time. You know, moral compasses vary person to person. Obviously, try to do things for the right reasons and whatever that means for you. But like, that'll help you to safeguard against all of this, hopefully, because it can happen to you. It doesn't matter what your intentions are. So, but if your intentions are good, you'll probably bounce back from it just fine.
Exactly, and that kind of circles back to the whole clipping thing. Like, I know getting clipped out of context is like a big concern, but it's like, you know, if you're clipped out of context, there is this entire VOD that you can point to and be like, well, actually, there's a little bit more of it.
Yeah,
probably watch it.
That's true.
Too much.
This comes from a point of naivete, I think, but as far as like the people who don't care about the context and just want to like block you and mute you and hate you and unfollow whatever, fuck those people. Like, they were never going to be your fans to begin with, and they're too small-brained to even comprehend anything anyway. So do you even want their support? I don't.
That's fair.
Exactly.
And some of those people are big people. Like, I've been blocked by a few bigger streamers because they're just very reactionary.
I will say on that point, there's like one more thing that I want to try to cover before Dylan. I only have Dylan.
We're good for time.
A little bit. Wait,
we're good. We're good.
Do you have something you wanted to say?
Oh no, I was just.
Oh, that was a one. Okay, I didn't know if that was a one or a like. Wait, hold for me.
Wait a minute.
I do have one other thing that I wanted to address. Was the idea of whether or not we're responsible for our communities. I've seen it come up on Twitter before, and I've heard like very mixed things about it. And like, I mean that in a couple different ways. Like, are we responsible for the way that our community acts when, if I raid Dylan and someone acts like an ass in Dylan's chat, does that fall on me? Am I responsible for that in some way because I didn't draw those lines in my own community, and then now they're out here acting like assholes elsewhere? Does it reflect poorly on us if we see our regulars on Twitter canceling people or acting like assholes?
I would
there's another part of that, but I want to do that first.
Well, it depends on what they do in the name of you. Now, if one of my community members' wife, that doesn't really fall on me because I didn't encourage it, and it's literally a name on the internet. I had no idea they were going to do any of these things. if it turns out they told me that they were going to do this and I did nothing, then it does fall on me. If they go into a raid where they, say someone from my community goes into yours and they start, yelling about, whatever, you're a girl, blah, 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 blah.
Right, someone calls
does
me a
that fall on me?
Drops your emote.
Yeah, and drop my email. What I would do is, would I talk to them about it? Absolutely, because I don't want to be represented that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to think of me every single time, that happens.
Right.
Would I communicate with you and communicate with them? We are responsible, by the way, we are represented by our community. We are not responsible for things that they do, that doesn't involve our community. If somebody gets caught up in a drug bust, is that my fault? No, not really. They got their own life.
Exactly.
Yes.
But if they come into you and start calling you names and saying all this from my raid, then yeah, I should probably talk to them and I should probably apologize to you that it happened. It's happened. I got raided and some dude was yelling crazy stuff at me. And she emailed me or she Discorded me and she said, I'm so sorry for it happening. Like, I blocked him from my chat. I didn't know he was still watching me. And then he just came over and was mean to you. It happened.
Right.
And she explained it to me. And that's what we have to do, especially as we need to be honest with each other about what our communities are doing. Mm-hmm. And if they are nasty to us, we have to make sure that that's not what we're fostering.
Right, because I've had conversations with, I had one person kind of break an etiquette rule. It was part of my community in Slurp stream, and oh, hey, you should raid so-and-so while he was in the middle of his stream, and I DM'd that guy immediately and was like, you can't do that. That makes everybody look bad. You need to stop. The person you said needs to raid looks bad. I look bad because Slurp knows that you're from me. You can't do that. And
not that second one. Not the second one.
Well, I mean, it looked bad, and I was like, please don't do that. You can't do that.
He's look, bro, you're not too good, but my girl Sierra's on.
I think then the very next day, I was on Slurp's, a panel of Slurps about content creator culture, and one of the other panelists tweeted something, and I retweeted it, and then someone who was following me on Twitter commented on her thing and started trying to hey, I hate to tell you this, but you can't do it, and she can. And I DM'd her and was like, I don't know why he did that. I'm so sorry. He can't be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think. Oh, sorry.
No.
Slurp, what?
All you, homie.
Oh, I think it just really, really depends on the nature of your community. Because I think what you allow to happen in your chat will happen in other chats. Mm-hmm. Generally. So if somebody's in my chat making super, I'm not okay with super lewd or objectification. That stuff gets a little awkward sometimes. So I shut that down. and people generally speaking, right? If I'm hey man, that's not cool. If they don't like it, they leave. Most of the time they walk. And then we're good. If you allow it to happen in your stream, and then I raid Sierra, and now they're objectifying Sierra, it's okay, that to some degree, my raid brought them there. I'm a little bit responsible for that moment to some degree, right? If we scale this up to Dr. Disrespect, right, when he says not maybe great things, he's said some things that are super maybe racy, right? And people defend that behavior. You cultivate the audience that believes what you believe to some degree, right? Especially as you get larger. Their beliefs are your beliefs as they sort of start to tie to you, and they back you, right? You kind of, whether you like it or not, cultivate a little bit of an echo chamber. Mm-hmm. Are you responsible? So if they do something, are you responsible? It depends on the thing, right? If Dr. Disrespect's community starts attacking Mixer streamers or making fun of them on the internet, is he responsible? He said the thing that started it. Yeah. Should he be responsible? Yeah, a little, because he started it. But I think it's so situational. You can't say I think, should he have said it? No. Should he take that back? That's irrelevant, right? But you do have to watch what you say. You're a leader, right? As we know with presidency and on down, what you say, people rally to it, and you empower people with what you do. Mm. Does that mean you're directly always responsible? No, I think it is very hit or miss. Sure. But I think you empower your viewers. You do 100%. What you allow in your chat will spread otherwise. So
I think also
you are an influencer.
Wow, crazy.
Were you saying something?
A lot of
Oh, okay, sorry.
I have what? Sorry.
Oh no, I just thought, I'm pretty sure, I think Tune was saying something while Dylan was starting earlier.
Oh yeah, basically what I was gonna say is, your community is a reflection of you. It's what it comes down to. We are on here, we are broadcasting our personalities, and we are defining who we are through the people who watch us, you know? Like, I'm not going to have people come into my stream or regulars come into my stream that make any type of racial jokes, and like it will get shut down quickly, not only by me but by literally every other person in the chat. It doesn't even matter if they're mods or not. They are there and they're gonna shut that shit down faster than I could even see it usually.
Oh yeah, I don't even see stuff anymore.
Yes, it comes down to the point where, yeah, if there is one or two people who are kind of outliers or newer to the community, you're not, I wouldn't say you're technically responsible for the action of that person. Like, there's something you need to address, and you should probably apologize on behalf because you brought that to somebody new. But if your community as a whole is, you know, well behaved and going along with it and playing along in the confines of how you want to be seen and how your personality is, like, then you're doing the right thing. But if you cultivate a community, say like just throwing like random kind of more toxic community, like a Tyler 1 type of community, where it's like he thrives in the toxicity. That's what happens. That's what he does. So if his community goes and attacks somebody else, even without him knowing, he created that. So he is responsible for that in my mind. If there's some like, if your community, your overarching community is objectifying somebody or saying weirdly racy things or like, you know, making, just trolling in any way possible, like that is on you. You made that.
Right, you allowed that.
I can't agree with that. Just because there's community overlap. Like, people in your community might also be in motherfuckers community or dickbags community.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
People to
or do you mean like
the difference to a degree?
Well, I'm saying, like, say I get raided by somebody, and then 2 hours later, I raid somebody else. And if those people have been there for those 2 hours, that's a good enough time to understand what flies and what doesn't.
My thing is on like what Slurp is saying is that like, so like, yeah, you and I have a big overlap, but we don't have the same community. Like, the vibe of our streams are not the same. So the people that are in your community and in my community act a little bit different in your community versus in my community. I act a little bit different when I'm in your chat versus when I'm streaming myself. But like, if someone brand new comes from like, they're in my community, they've never seen you before, and then I raid you, I expect them to behave themselves and not, you know, act like a gigantic dick bag. If they do, then that makes it seem like I allowed that.
I think what I think is that number one, I probably have in terms of pure numbers, I'm probably the smallest person here, and a lot of the thought that people that are like smaller is, do I allow the behavior because I don't want to lose the viewer?
The answer
that's where it all kind of comes down to. I start saying what flies and what doesn't, then slowly I'm going to start, you know, phasing out a lot of the very, you know, small amount of people that are actually in my stream. But the fact is that's such a slippery slope, because the moment you start compromising what you want your stream to be just to retain your following, then it creates the atmosphere for you. You don't have to be the toxic one. You just have to allow it.
Yeah, it snowballs in whatever direction you set it up to go. So if you start being lax, say like, you know, being ethnically ambiguous on Twitch, I get a lot of racist shit that will happen. Like, that's the trolls that I get.
Ethnically ambiguous. Okay.
Ethnically ambiguous, because people, they're like, okay, the thing I get the most is like, so like, what are you? I'm like, God damn it, Karen. What do you think?
So where are you from?
Like, no, I know you're from New York, but like, where are you from?
Right.
Right. Oh, that's the Tom Haverford thing. Yeah.
So basically, like, if I were to let that fly at a low level, like when I started out, that would, you know, people would see that, and those people who are friends with other people be like, yeah, like hang out in the stream, and then you start growing that identity as like the weirdly edgy, racy chat, and that's just what you become. So you might lose a couple people in the beginning if you're like, dude, don't say that here, like just don't. Or in the case like I've called people out to the point where I banned them and I was like, hey, you need to give me like a full written essay on why
400
what
words.
you said was completely fucked up. And I was like, cite your sources and do everything. And I done that 3 times.
Did they cite sources?
Yes, and I checked it all out. I literally went through it. I was like, you went through the work, and 3 of those people are some of the most like leadership in the community that we've built.
That's why they got the punishment they did, though.
They are there, and they are like, they understand that, you know, maybe they lived in a small town or whatever, and it just didn't click that like the world is more expansive and broad than what they were thinking.
Yeah.
In doing this, they like understood what they did, and they're like, oh shit, that's really messed up. But you know, they could have just left, and this was earlier on. They could have just left, and that would have been the end of it. But you have to take the chance to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
I'd like to expound a bit on what I was saying before.
Yes.
So, especially when you get to a point where, let's say you have 10,000 average viewers in your community, like, how can you be responsible for all of them? If you do, it's the same.
It is.
Same.
With sheer are we talking about the same thing here?
It is the same. Like, you'll see Ninja's community interacts the exact, like, a different way than Dr. Disrespect. Dr. Disrespect will call out people, meme on them, dunk on them, like, says really, like, edgy things, and his community loves that. But Ninja's community, he's like, hey, stay in school. And, yeah, I'm not saying Ninja's, like, a great dude. He says some stuff I'm like, okay.
Right. At the end of the day,
you don't see his community doing the same. No, I'm not saying he should be put to a guillotine but, like, he's not sending his community to attack anyone or attack streamers on Mixer, right? So, like, it is still the same. It is a reflection. Is it a little bit more diluted because the pool gets bigger? A little, but right, like most, I would hope anyway. God, I hope most people will go, "Oh, it's Dr. Disrespect, of course," or "Oh, it's Ninja." What? Hello, his community did what now?
So to kind of hammer that point in. One thing you could do to kind of see that in action is go spend time in like XQC or Soda Poppin' or somebody like that, where the community has more free range to say and do crazy things.
Hey, money, Wubby.
And then, no, don't bring that name up around me. And then go spend time in Lupo's or Tim, the Tapman's. And just like look at their chats is a whole different thing.
It's very different.
And it's
if we're talking in the confines of my chat and like my rating target, then yes, I get that. I'm not. Yeah. What does this expand to exactly? Like if ButtJuice was saying, if some dude gets popped for a drug bust, like.
Right. I'm talking about only on the internet as a
internet life.
Your community as like a community. If one dude says some racy shit, you're obviously not in like right.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
If I have like 500 average viewers and one guy comes to 2 of my streams and maybe subs one time, like you're not entitled to that one for them.
Right.
But you're not. You're
accountable. Like from you, if one guy does something, then that's a problem, or then that's like not a problem on you. That's like, hey, fuck this guy. But if they're all come in and are like shitting on me or something, then I'm like, okay, so people suck. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's,
Don't get me wrong though, because I will take that to the second extreme. If there's a single individual who I think I've built a solid relationship, who's maybe a mod or a VIP or like big in my community in some way, or a straight up friend, like, and they do something fucked up, they will be approached.
Yes, I mean, you asked me about why I had beef with somebody specifically.
I mean, at some point, your ability to have that hands-on, like, if we're speaking in like purely hypotheticals, if you're at 500 viewers, your ability to have that hands-on experience is severely diminished. So am I going to hold you accountable for one dude who's saying something? No, but like, again, I guess I'm speaking if we're scaling up to Dr. Disrespect, where, you know, there's 100, 200, 300 people saying the same thing, he's responsible. That's 300 people. They're clearly taking action based on something, right? If one dude does something, I'm not going to be like, yo, whose ass do I got to kick? You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you know, but that, and then some people are going to do some things, and you're going to be responsible no matter what happens. And those people, you know, that there's all of these outliers. But yeah, I think the difference is a community at large versus an individual who is problematic. There's
something you wanted to add,
segregation.
Yeah, I think looking at it a different way might kind of help with the perspective a bit, because one thing that we have to remember is all of these viewers, regardless of like whose viewers they are, they're an individual. They don't belong to us. They don't belong to them. They have their own thoughts. They have their own opinions. Now, there's an argument to be made as to whether or not Dr. Disrespect or me or you are enabling it. But as far as responsibility goes, I think, I mean, I'm on the same page with you guys. Like, if it's, if we're like brigading or some shit, obviously that's on us.
Mm-hmm.
If it's one person doing something like that, that's them. I don't think that I'm responsible for that one person unless that one person is doing something based off of like me kind of like pushing them into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to ask you guys, in the same vein of like our responsibilities for our communities, this is not something I run into because I play single player games, but who in here streams like with other streamers in voice for like games and stuff ever? Does anybody
Antisocial till I
do
die.
that?
Sometimes.
I'll
Wait,
do
say that again.
Like, who plays games with other streamers where you're both in voice and I can hear both people on your stream? Like, I can hear you.
I've done it before, but I don't do it regularly.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I have, but
How,
I'm slurping D every 2 weeks.
how do you handle if someone who you've chosen to co-stream with does something or says something? Like, okay, so there was a point in time when I was watching a streamer who was doing a co-stream, and the other person that they were playing with, they made a comment that was well intended but could have been perceived as maybe a little bit racist, and I saw the streamer like didn't know how exactly to address it. So like, how do you handle that?
if you don't say
happened,
something,
you just-
you're an accessory.
You tell them straight up, like, dude, that's not cool. You do that again, and
Yeah, complacency is
Co-stream.
guilt. 100%. If
Yeah.
you don't shut it down, like you could have stopped it.
you have to set the
because-
example.
Yeah, I mean,
To-
it depends, right? There was somebody who's particularly famous with Fortnite said like the N word on stream, I think, but it was like he was with someone else and their stream heard it. It's like, okay, like he's obviously not cool with it. But he was like, dude, I'm live. What are you doing? What are you saying? But yeah, that's, I mean,
And
if you
there's a
let
big.
it go,
Oh, sorry.
it's
Yeah.
the same as like letting a kid get bullied, and you're like, yeah, that sucks, man. All right, you know, like like, and that's different because there's physical harm and stuff. But I think there's a responsibility on all of us, and it shows kind of a little bit of where you lie if you're not
Yeah.
willing to step in and say
I
something.
get that.
And there's
sorry, go
definitely-
on, Oreo.
Oh, sorry, you can go.
No, you go ahead and say what you were gonna say. I was gonna ask Slurp something. Go ahead.
I was just gonna add, like, as far as, oh god, now I don't even remember what I was gonna say.
You
I'm
got this.
sorry.
Massage your cerebrum.
No,
Back here,
no,
but-
it's
Do you want us to come
Hold
back
on.
to you?
just someone else go. It'll come back to me.
Give
Slurp,
someone
you
else
kind of
one.
made a face while I was saying all of that and asking that question.
Since I started streaming, I've had not the best luck vetting people when I've had them on. So like I've encountered stuff similar to this and almost exactly like this numerous times. I'd say from the time I started until now, there's been a time where I kind of ignored it and kind of just tried to keep pushing. And then as I kind of progressed and like was like, no, I have to like put my foot down and at the same time try to not kill the vibe. But it depends ultimately how severe it is.
Yeah, I was gonna
too.
say, when do you put
When
your
they
foot down?
say the
When
thing,
is
the
it
vibe is
harmless, like
Well,
a
that's
stupid
it's
joke
the-
that you just think is
like-
tasteless, or when is it like serious?
The intent and context will always matter to me in any situation. So, like, if it depends, is there malicious intent? How severe is it? Like, are they? I hear my echo again. Is that me? Is that?
I don't hear it.
I
You
don't
can't like. I have a problem with that. I have a really big problem with that. It doesn't matter intent. If something is said, it's said. If you're worried more about the vibe after it's said, that says more about you than it really does about the vibe.
The
I
vibe was
disagree.
already
You
ruined when
disregard
the person
intent
said what
and
they
we're
said.
fucked.
Now
Wait,
your
wait.
audience is looking
Yeah.
to you to see what you're going to do about it. So you now have the
Exactly.
opportunity to bring the vibe back.
Yes.
So you have to, I mean, if you just let it go, then your audience is going to be like,
Yeah, then that's when it comes back to you're okay with it. So that means
Yeah.
they're now okay with it. It all ties in.
No. Well, yes, that's my whole point. Disregarding intent to any given action or phrase is going to dismiss all the context around it.
Context doesn't matter. When it's said, it's done. Everything's done. When
As-
something is said
well-
that is hurtful, then it doesn't matter what they were saying. It doesn't matter what they intended. It was said. It's in the air. Everybody in the stream knows it. You know
It's not
it.
black or white.
Now
There's
it's
nothing
on
black
you.
or white. It's a fact.
How would you
There's
process
nothing black
Now
or
it's
white.
on you.
So,
to either
all right.
correct
So
it.
if something racist gets said, that's bad. Done.
yes,
Like, you shouldn't use
objectively,
slurs.
that needs to get shut
If
down.
something
Yes.
seems like an insinuation, like this isn't black or white, right or wrong. This is if there's like it's situational, 100%. If somebody in my stream says the N-word while we're co-streaming, hold on, I don't care what it is. Now, if there's like a hold on, that sounded a little. What did you? Was that an insinuation about titty streamers? What was that? We'll have a conversation, but it's not like context depends on what was said. 100%. I'm not gonna like. You know, I again, as somebody who's been there, context kind of does matter for some things and clearly doesn't for others. Like
Yeah,
there are
there's a
things that are
Well, I have to say though, when it comes to something that's either sexist or racist,
I agree.
everybody in this panel, we don't decide if it's hurtful because it doesn't really
I
not
100%
towards
agree.
us. You know,
Sure, yeah.
we don't get to decide if things are hurtful to people of other races or other
Right.
sexes.
Right.
We just
I'm
have
with
to, at that moment, we have to do the right thing.
Yep.
But we as individuals do decide what is hurtful to us.
So that's, I
Yeah,
don't know
but
if that's
not
what we're
just somebody
mitigating.
else.
We're talking about the toxicity of our community on other people in a way.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're really talking
If
about
something
what
is
hurts us
said,
or not.
intent, it wasn't intended. The answer is it doesn't matter. It was said.
Yeah.
We need
Shut
to
up.
correct
That
it
makes sense.
immediately.
That comes down to a line, though. Like, there's clearly a line of like, that's just don't ever say that, or like what
there's a
Dylan
line.
was saying was like, making a stab at air quote titty streamers, like
Mhm.
making a stab at that, and you're like, yo, like that's grounds for like you can to figure out what the hell they're trying to say, and then make your opinion on that because
Right.
that's not
Yeah.
like that's like a weird line of like, okay, that could be a discussion, but like. Once you go over that line, it doesn't matter your intent. That's just an awful thing to say.
Yeah, and
If someone says
Anita asked me specifically if whether or not I agree with that impact matters more than intention. I wanted to just voice my opinion on it also. That I think that it really depends. Like, as we're talking about how our community affects other people, then no, I think impact is more important than intention because like I can't decide what the impact is on other people. If you're talking to me, then like, and maybe I can tell what your intentions were, and like I know that you didn't mean it like that. Like, okay, yeah, whatever. I move on from it. If it's to me, then like intention matters. If it's to a big group of people, like if you're just saying it on my stream and everyone's hearing it, then I think that no, your intention matters a lot less than what could have potentially impacted who knows who's listening. Like, I don't know everyone's background or how that affects them. Like, and I'm not here to decide that.
If we're playing with someone, if I'm playing with you, Sierra, it's you, me, and another person. The other person says, even in joking, kind of, it's crazy. I'm playing with a girl right now because I just hate girl streamers. Now that's in the air. Now, if I don't say anything, that means that I am okay playing with him, and I am okay with what he is saying.
Right.
You will not want to play games with me.
Right.
You will not want to play games with him. All of our communities
No,
are
exactly.
watching me not do anything towards you. And I know a lot of times when that is said, the first thought is diffuse. I don't want to make a big thing out of this. I don't want to make everything uncomfortable. I don't want to kill the vibe because that would be weird for our communities that are now together. But the fact is, if we are not, then you're looking at me saying, hey, he didn't say anything. Maybe he thinks this too.
I mean, I don't think anyone's disagreeing with you. I think all I'm saying is depending on what is said, I can address it without creating a new situation. I can address it and shut it down without building this mountain of like, hold on, skirt, hard pause, everybody off, music, record scratch. We're going to like, I can be like, hey, that's not cool if you're going to stream with me. Just to let you know, like, going to throw that out there. We're not okay with that. And then depending on what they say, cool. One and done. I'm not gonna like have a, but I'm not disagreeing with you though. Like if somebody says something, I do believe it's our responsibility to interject. But if it's something racist, like I'm not maybe gonna give them that moment to explain themselves. I don't care what they have to say. We're done. I'm leaving that Discord call. But if you say like a poke at somebody, I'm gonna be like, hold on. I'm gonna give you a warning. Like we're not cool with that here, just to let you know. So I think that's what I'm saying, just so I'm clear that nobody like walks away from this thinking I'm like an evil person.
Right. No.
I don't disagree with you. I think we do have that responsibility, 1,000%.
Yeah, I think we're kind of all saying the same thing, just with different verbiage.
Semantically,
like,
definitely.
Yeah, I think it's like a semantics difference at this point. So I think we all kind of feel the same about it, more or less.
I think that it's also important to take advantage of teachable moments when they're available. There's a lot of times I could have straight up kicked people out of my chat, my stream, and been like, be gone. But a lot of the times there's knowledge differences, there's cultural differences. And I find that if I could take a minute to be like, hey, this is why this is bad, this is probably the proper way to do it, then we can move forward. I think like one thing that happens in my community is people like re-emotes. I don't agree with like the re-emote existence. And if people are like in my chat and they type re, I'm like, hey, we don't do that here, because there are some people that take great offense to that, because some like in some cases it makes fun of like autistic kids and the sound they make when they're, overloaded. And some people are like, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
some people, the people that argue with me, I'm not having an argument. We're not doing it. If you want to do it, you can go somewhere else. But I think you can have teachable moments, but also be intolerant to ignorance.
I think you can have teachable moments, or you can have moments where you just make that person look like a total fucking idiot. Because they said,
I'm here for both.
You can teach or dunk. Yeah, like what are you trying to cultivate? Yeah.
Exactly.
See, I guess.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, we definitely are all on the same page about this. We are just like skirting different semantics about what's happening. Like, to go back to the analogy I was using, like when I'm talking about there's a line that I can teach people, like, okay, like what you said was fucked up, and I'll lay into them and like let them know, like, hey, that was fucked up. Why'd you say that? But it's still me being me, and like the people in the stream will like. It's not a shocker. It's not a vibe killer. It's like, oh, he's just laying into him because this guy said something dumb.
Right.
But if it goes past that line of like, I'm not going to teach a 30-year-old not to be racist. I don't have time for that. I've dealt with that shit my whole life.
So like, goodbye.
So it's like, it's not my job anymore, dude. Go fuck off. I can't change you, and I'm not going to try to do this.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I think both Slurp and Dylan have probably seen in my chat, even when it comes to like with the kind of sexist trolls or the like objectification from certain trolls, there is a little bit of a line. There's like someone will come in and say something like mildly inappropriate or something that I feel is like skirting the line of being a little bit objectifying, and I'm like, hey, we don't talk about each other's bodies in here. We don't have those conversations. It's not what we do. And then I know Dylan has definitely heard me also yelling at people who come in and like go way over the line, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like,
and you do that. Like, you do that really well. You find the moments of where like somebody's kind of being just ignorant and not really realizing what they're doing, and then correcting, and then they'll stay and hang out. Or when someone goes way too far, it's a quick ban, move on. Like, I'm not your teacher. Like, I'm not gonna hold your hand through everything. Like, there's a clear distinction of like, I could help this person right now, or fuck this dude, let's move on. Right,
for sure.
I feels that. Well said.
I had a couple other things that I wanted to talk about, but they're not that important. We've gone over 20 minutes beyond what I told Dylan we would end at. I'm so sorry, friend.
No, you're fine. I'm good.
Is there anything that any of you guys want to add about anything before I go around and kind of do closings? Anything else that you guys want to say or think needs
just
to
be
be
nice
said?
to people, man.
You guys are all cute.
Yeah.
I just want to live. Okay, really quickly. I want to live in his mouth. He has such a beautiful smile, and I just want to like pitch up a tent and just kind of live in there.
Who? What?
Yeah,
you cut out too much during that.
Somebody's mouth.
I have British teeth. It's not me.
Whose mouth?
It's your mouth.
My
I
mouth?
want to live in there. I want to pitch a tent in there. I want to. No. Your smile is absolutely perfect. And you look like you should be on some sort of Pepsi commercial, smiling and dancing in the streets.
As you can actively ruin your teeth with that Pepsi Cola.
Yeah, right. That's a little.
There it is.
He made a pretty sweet commercial.
I talked to I was pitching a show to Travel Channel, and they one time told me, they go, I sent them this couple. They were really beautiful couple, not really a beautiful couple. They were like a little bit older, a little bit bigger, and they go, we want our network to be like a travel guide. They go, have you ever seen ugly fat people in a travel guide? And I was like, ooh.
Oh boy.
Working in entertainment.
Oh my god.
I would like to point out that I've been pointing a lot this episode, but the camera setup for me in Discord is different than it's on stream. Yep. So don't mind any of the pointing I've done over the past few episodes.
I pointed up at you, and I'm like, wait, that's Dylan.
Oh yeah, I've seen you guys pointing, and I'm pointing also. And at one point, I was aware of it, and then I was like, oh wait, they see what I see. I'll point all day.
I'll say real quick on what we were just talking about. I do believe firmly in the idea of keeping your side of the street clean. But in that same vein, as content creation has taught me and all the networking and relationships that come with it, we allow who we let on our side of the street. It's
Yeah, for
have
sure.
to ponder it a bit.
Yeah.
So on that note, I'm gonna go back around again and let all of you guys kind of tell us again, who are you, where can people find you, and if you can give one piece of advice to content creators, whether they're new content creators or have been doing it for years, one piece of advice for other people doing what we do. Dylan.
You can find me at twitch.tv/DyllonKG. You can find me on Twitter the same. My Instagram is actually geared towards my music. So Instagram.com/niche music. You can find me on Spotify. I have a single out, and it's a slapper. It claps
good.
cheeks.
I heard it. Vouch.
Thank you.
It is a good song. I heard it too.
It's like 80 plays from 2K, which is like 2K more plays than I thought I'd ever get. So high fives.
Nice.
But it's Spotify niche, or you could just search confessional. But advice that I have for somebody going out there is to don't not pigeonhole yourself. You may want to be a Twitch partner, and that's great. Don't rely on a platform though. Remember that if you're doing this, if you really want to go after it, you are a brand, and you shouldn't rely on Twitch. You shouldn't rely on YouTube. You should use all of your resources available, but efficiently, right? So just be aware of that and what that really means, right? If you're trying to really make it on Twitch, use YouTube, leverage Instagram, leverage these other places and bring it back home. Because if you're just trying to grow on Twitch, it is going to be an uphill battle that you're going to break your back on. So,
Oreo.
You guys can find me at twitch.tv/Oreocide, youtube.com/Oreocide, twitter.com/Oreocide, and instagram.com/Oreocide. I don't know, I had a lot of fun tonight. I think we had a lot of very insightful discussions.
I have to go to the bathroom, so you guys do your thing. I'll be right back.
All right.
Oh no, Mom left.
Self-mitigation? What the hell?
Wait. All the mods are gone. We can do whatever we want now.
Let's go!
This is true.
Woo! Party time!
It's finally time for my penis.
Oh, there's
We got
Bobble
a
Ross.
Bobble
Is that what his name? Is it Bobble Ross?
Oh, no. Wait a minute. I'm a mod. That's not good. I got to keep you guys in control.
The mods are. Put him away. Hold on.
Oh, shit.
Timed out.
Everybody smell my hands.
Clippable. There we go. There he is.
ButtJuice, you look a little submissive. You look like a.
You want a piece
bowl of milk for you and.
It's a. What is it? A Friday? Let's go.
Let's go. You got a mod in there with you in stream. Well, look, hold on. Let's all. Shh.
Look, y'all just calm down.
Do we just awkwardly wait for her?
She tends to do our things, but
Sorry, I was
direction.
ready to
We
pee
literally
myself
got
for like
nothing done without you here.
Sure,
Yeah, we got nothing done.
She waits until we get to me to go take
Yeah, well, I
Dylan,
hoped that Slurp,
that's
who
a
does
new-
this like twice a month, could maybe help me out while I was gone. I've been ready to.
He
I've
was
been,
like
ready
the
to
leader.
piss myself for
He
like
forgot
an hour.
that he was a mod. Let us
I've
rebel.
had to pee for 2 hours, all right?
We've
No,
only
I
been
just
here for
went.
2
I don't know what y'all
hours.
doing.
That's
Don't worry,
long
did you
enough.
say
You gotta
everything
use the
that you had to
bathroom
say?
before you.
We said
I
nothing.
did.
I went to the
did.
bathroom before we started, like an adult here.
I also
so.
did
Yeah.
I have
that,
small
but then I drank
bladder.
lots
I
of
don't feel
water
bad.
and a Monster, and I had to pee again. Slurp.
Well.
Who are you? Where can people find you? Do you have a piece of advice for creators?
Wait, I didn't give my piece.
You
of
didn't give us
advice
piece of
yet.
advice!
I don't know
Oh,
what
I'm
happened.
funny again.
Y'all
We
fell apart
paused.
when I was gone. Oreo,
Yes.
do your thing. Say your words.
All right. I already plugged all my socials, but my piece of advice. Oh God, it's just be yourself. As far as it goes with streaming, like I know that's such a generic piece of advice, but I really think that with streaming, with content creation in general, putting yourself out there, you have a real opportunity to show the world who you are. So be your real self. And when you do that, the people that resonate with you, the people that relate to you, the people that like your ideas and thoughts and opinions are going to come to you. And the people who don't, 9 times out of 10, you'll never see them. So don't be afraid to be yourself. Just put yourself out there and they will come to you eventually.
True.
That's what's up.
Agreed.
Yo, Slurp.
You can find me at Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Oh God, TikTok.
Their first
Oh
TikTok.
man.
It's a thing. And pretty much all socials and everything outside of like Tumblr. I actually tried a Tumblr, but it didn't work. Oh, let's not talk about it. Anyway, we're not talking about it.
I'll come on your stream. We'll talk about it.
Come on my Tumblr account, please. Do you, what was the second question? Was it just piece of
it was, yeah, it was
advice?
a piece of advice.
Oh, okay. I guess be prepared to learn. Be able, willing, and ready to learn, whether it's tech stuff or about yourself or other people as a whole. I cannot tell you how much I've learned since starting this journey about fucking everything. About fucking everything. Nice.
Good. Really good.
So
Tomato, potato.
exactly. And also just be accepting, be receptive to it. I'll keep this on the eye here. Like, I find I'm happiest when I'm making a conscious effort to remain humble, meaning I'm not better than anybody else and I'm not worse than anybody else. I'm learning, and I'm very grateful to have people here to help me do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Detune?
Yes, you could find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Detune, on all socials, Detune with the letter X in front of it, because Detune was taken by a company that doesn't exist anymore.
Good.
So it's Detune on Twitter, Instagram. I'm also just started a TikTok. We'll see how that goes. And also on Spotify under Detune. And I guess
Also
piece of
has a
advice.
banger.
Thank you.
Many.
I guess a piece of advice I would give is whatever you do, just make sure you're still enjoying yourself. Make sure you're getting into whatever you're getting into for the right reason. Be it the games you play, the community you're cultivating, the vibe that you want to have around your channel, how you use your socials, whatever it is. If you are bending to play a numbers game, say you're playing this one game because, I'll use like Dark Souls, for example. If you don't really like Dark Souls, I love Dark Souls. I'm not taking a knock at the game. I love Dark Souls. But if you don't really like it, but you saw your friends playing it, and there's a healthy Dark Souls community on Twitch, and you're like, oh, I should do that too, because people like watching this game, but you fucking hate it. You don't like the challenge about it. You don't like the repetition. You don't know how to keep things going in a way that makes the repetition fun. But you are doing it because your streams are higher on average than the games you like to play, but you're fucking miserable. You are not going to last. You're going to burn out so quickly. You're going to create a community that you don't really truthfully like because it's not people who are a reflection of you. You're projecting a fake you to get people around you. Like it's a recipe for disaster, and most people figure this out when it's too late. I kind of dabbled my toes doing stuff that I didn't really enjoy because the numbers were there before I just essentially jumped backwards and started streaming almost specifically indie horror games, which is such a weird niche market on Twitch. It has no discoverability, but I'm having a blast. So people who come into my stream see that I'm having fun and enjoy it, and then they start, they pick up on that energy. They're having fun too.
Oh yeah, I'll watch you play games that I have literally no interest in whatsoever because of you, because your personality.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It comes down to knowing what you like, understanding where you need to be to do what you like to do, and kind of building for there. It might take longer, but the longevity is what you're after, not to end up on live stream fails, blow up overnight, and then next month you're back to where you started and you just wasted all of that time.
Valid. Yeah, big agree. ButtJuice?
You can find me twitch.tv/ButtJuiceSoup, twitter.com/ButtJuiceSoup. I own an esports organization called Two Juiced, so you can go on Twitter and it's Two Juiced GG. I am now a certified e-girl, so you can pay $5 to play Apex with me. I made an OnlyFans for my dog. That's onlyfans.com/lovelybrooklyn. We're kind of out of generic streamer advice because we got be yourself, learn. So I'm gonna have to hit it up something different, which is we hear the term networking a lot. Network. It doesn't mean anything.
But
it's just much like most of the terms that just happen that that we just use. It doesn't really. We say it so much it doesn't mean anything. Interact, become friends, because you're not going to make it to where you want to be without everybody's help. So go on to Twitter, go on to Instagram, interact with people, go into people's DMs and hold conversations. Talk to people about where they work. They may be outside of Twitch. If they don't want to talk about that, talk about their game. Hey, you like Banjo-Kazooie? I like Banjo-Kazooie. Let's talk about it. What's it mean to you? This is networking. This networking is creating meaningful relationships. And then when you guys are friends and have meaningful relationships, kind of using both of your platforms to help each other out. That's networking. Being friends on Twitch is networking.
Yeah.
So
friendship.
Go out and just make friends,
Absolutely. First and foremost, Detune, I don't know if you see this or not. Turtle Tickle said make an OnlyFans for Priscilla, and please do.
Actually, maybe.
You did not,
dude. I would simp so hard for her.
Oh my god.
So I'll test it out, but if shit starts getting wacky, I'm deleting it. So for this doll that's sitting behind me, my younger brother got it for me for Christmas without me wanting or asking for it. It's legitimately supposed to be a haunted doll, legitimately haunted doll, and was a skeptic, and now I'm like, oh good god. So I try to treat her with respect. She might like being on camera, I don't fucking know, but people like her. Her name's Priscilla.
Yeah.
I dropped her once, and I'm
oh no.
Oh
my
god.
Camera. Oh, I dropped her once in my next stream. My camera was all fucked up. Oh no.
She's coming for you.
I just put that together.
Oh
no.
But so I am Sierra Grove. You can find me here on Twitch, on Instagram, even though I don't use it, on Twitter, on YouTube. I'm everywhere as Sierra Grove with an underscore underneath it, because someone who doesn't use any accounts already took Sierra Grove. So neato, very cool stuff. You can find me anywhere with that name. And I'll be doing this hopefully every Friday. It'll be back and forth between a whole big discussion panel and sometimes just being like a one-on-one interview. It won't always be this big and this involved, but I will be doing this here on this channel hopefully every Friday. That's my intention. That's kind of ambitious, so we'll see how long that happens. Everybody kind of already took my advice, but Slurp took the first thing that I was going to talk about, so I guess I'll just piggyback off of that, about like learning from everything and everyone, and staying humble, and kind of back to where we said, you know, everyone is not necessarily your competition. Watch other streams, watch your own streams. Don't view it as other people being competition. Look and see, like, everybody on this panel right now is here because I thoroughly enjoy their streams and I wanted their perspective. So when I watch their streams, I look and see, like, what is it that I like about this stream? What makes me want to watch this? So then I can say, like, oh, well, you know, I like this because I feel comfortable here. I like this because this person's really authentic. I like this because this person's really high energy. And then I try to, you know, see how I can incorporate that in a way that is still me. And also, as hard as it is to listen to your own voice, because trust me, I hate it. I am dreading having to edit this video to put it up on YouTube later. Like, I don't want to do it. But you got to do it. Like, watch your own streams back, watch your own VODs, figure out what you did that you're like, oh, I should not have done that, or what did you think was really great? Make clips from it for one, but also like learn from that and don't do that shit that you didn't like.
True.
Yep.
And that's kind of all. Thank you guys so much for being on this panel with me. This was my first one of these and I was really, really nervous about it, and I'm still like kind of bouncing my legs and acting shaky and jittery for no reason.
You did amazing.
Thank you guys
You
so
did a
much
good
for
job,
being a part
kid.
of this. I
Good
appreciate
work.
it. You're all wonderful.
Thank you.
I love you guys. ButtJuice, all right. Thank you, everybody, for being here, though, and thank you guys again.